I'd like to call to order our September 10th board meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Valencia,
Present.
Mr. Hollinshead,
Present.
Mr. Lara,
Here.
Ms. Cabral is absent, Mrs. Cordero.
Here. Dr. McDuffie, will you please report out on item A under closed session items?
Yes, thank you, President Cordero. The Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment of Dr. Tin Hong, Coordinator of Special Education. The roll call vote was unanimous, with Luz Maria Cabral, board member, being absent.
On items B and C, information was shared, no actions were taken. Our interpreters tonight are Benito Flores and Manuel Rios Victoria, and greeting and support is provided by Benji Alfaro and Nashley Santiago. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by a student, Gerardo Gonzalez Velasco. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our inspiration tonight will continue with Ms. Kelly introducing students that are present. Whoops, I'm sorry.
Good evening, members of the school board, cabinet, and Dr. McDuffie. My name is Dora Dubois, and I'm the principal at Fairlawn. I am joined tonight by Mrs. Kelly, our assistant principal, Mrs. Walker, our sixth grade teacher and student leadership advisor, along with some of our student leaders, Gerardo, Julio, Ayelen, and Dylan. When we were asked to share an inspirational segment, we immediately thought of belonging. Belonging is more than just being present. It's a feeling of being seen, valued, and understood. This sense of belonging is fundamental to our success at Fairlawn. When everyone, students, staff, and families feels like they belong, they are more engaged and supportive. Creating this environment is our daily commitment. It's in the simple acts we perform every day, like greeting families, knowing our students' names, sharing a kind word, and offering encouragement. It's about celebrating our differences and recognizing that our unique backgrounds make our community vibrant and strong. We are committed to fostering a place where every person can learn, grow, and thrive, because when we all belong, we all succeed.
Good evening, everyone. Our message at Fairlawn is that everyone belongs. We wanted to know what that really feels like for students in every grade. So we asked them a question. What make you feel belong like you belong here at Fairlawn? Here it's what they said.
Why do you feel like you belong at Fairlawn?
I feel I belong at Fairlawn because this is such a welcoming community. We've got excellent, dedicated teachers and students who just exuberate so much joy, and it's just a pleasure to work at this school. I definitely feel like I belong here.
As a PE teacher, I get to work with and connect and get to know all the kids in the school, and we have really awesome kids at Fairlawn, and that's why I'm connected.
My second year here, and I really felt even more like I belong here this year because my old students were coming up to me and hugging me. And then my new students saw that, and so those first graders are hugging me too, because they want to, well, if they're hugging her, maybe we should hug her too. So I get hugs every day. And how great is that?
I feel like I belong at Fairlawn because my team is very supportive.
Makes me feel like family.
We love the kids here. They're great.
Why do you belong at Fairlawn? Because there's a lot of people from my culture. Why do you belong at Fairlawn? Because of the nice teachers. Why do you belong at Fairlawn? Because I have a little friendship. Why do you belong at Fairlawn? Because my teacher is so fat and she tells us to learn. You belong at Fairlawn because there's a lot of nice people here. Why do you belong in Fairlawn? Because my teacher is nice to me.
Why do you think you belong here at Fairlawn?
Because everybody is welcome here and that everyone is nice to each other.
Why do you think you belong here at Fairlawn?
Because our school makes other people who are new here feel good and they tell them they're awesome.
Why do you think you belong here at Fairlawn?
Because our school is safe, respectful, and help others. What makes you to think that you belong to Fairlawn? Fairlawn makes you happy for learning a lot. What makes you feel to belong here in Fairlawn? For me, I feel safe and the fence are closed so no way dangerous can come in. ¿Por qué te sientes aceptada en la escuela? Porque me gusta jugar con mis amigos y con mis maestros.
What makes you feel that you belong at Fairlawn?
My teacher is nice.
What makes you feel like you belong at Fairlawn? The students and the staff.
What makes you feel that you belong at Fairlawn?
I feel welcome at Fairlawn because this is my second home away from my real home. Everyone's welcoming. The office is awesome. The kids are wonderful, and I know the families very well. So they're like my kids too. That's what makes Fairlawn special.
What makes you feel that you belong at Fairlawn?
That my teacher gives me hugs in the morning and we count numbers and we do ABCs.
Why do you think you belong here at Fairlawn?
Because our teachers make us smarter, help us smarter.
Why do you think you belong here at Fairlawn?
Because I like to be with my friends.
I'm in Fairlawn because of the students. I have known all these students since they were 3 or 4 years old. So I've seen them grow up. I came to this elementary school and I feel like it's home.
As you can see from the playground to the classroom, belonging at Fairlawn means having friends who care, teachers who help, and a school where we can all be proud to be Panthers. We know that at Fairlawn, everyone belongs.
Before I leave, I'd like to share some comments if I may.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to thank the students for being here. Y'all did a really great job with your presentations. There were a couple of things that you all said, or people in the video said, that I really appreciated hearing. One of you said, when we all belong, we all succeed. And so that really resonated with me. So thank you for that. And then you asked, what does it feel like, right, from all your classmates? And I appreciated hearing that our students feel safe, respected, that you help others, and that you feel safe. And you did it in English and in Spanish, right? Because we know some of our students, right, are new in the country or developing their skills. So that's also a big part, right, of making everybody feel like they belong. So thank you for modeling that, for our students and our staff. I also saw books everywhere in the video. Like I think I saw something that looked like a book vending machine, and then I saw books behind the cases. And so I just want to commend, your school for doing that, for making reading so cool and enjoyable, right, and making it so accessible. So I hope that you all are taking advantage of some of those books, right? And I'm really excited to have you all here with us. It's such a gift to have you all here. So thank you.
I would also like to thank you all for coming this evening. I think my favorite part was when Minnie said, because my teacher likes me, because I think that is really, really important too. And it takes a lot of courage and determination to come to this kind of forum where the only people you probably know are a few of the adults that brought you and are from your school. So we appreciate hearing from students from every one of our schools. And it takes a long time for us to hear from 21 different schools, but it is the best part of a board meeting. So give yourselves a pat on the back for that, and thank you.
The board and in front of display. In the front or here? Okay. Okay, down here. Yes, Julio. There might go.
We misled you.
This way. Yes.
That's right.
You stand out.
Focus. For your birthday. Yes. All right.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
I like to skill. You guys have bad skill.
Yeah. They say that.
Thank you again so much to the Fairlawn Group. And we have a special recognition tonight. I don't know how many in our district know that Serve Santa Maria does quite a lot at each and every one of our school sites. So we have invited Pastor Carl Nielsen to join us and share a bit about what Serve Santa Maria is all about.
There we go. Well, that's a surprise to me. I didn't come here for any recognition. I came here to share with you what Serve Santa Maria is doing in our community, and more specifically, what it's doing among our schools. I'm going to show you a lot of pictures, and it's just a brief, really, review of what we do. But I must tell you how Serve Santa Maria began. It was in 2009 that I took some of our high school youth to New Orleans to a national youth gathering. This was 4 years after Katrina. I had no idea how devastated this community still was. We went through neighborhoods like this that were completely gone, just cement foundations. And part of the deal was with 38,000 high school youth and chaperones that everyone gave a day of service to the city of New Orleans. And so schools were painted, parks were refurbished, school kits were prepared for every kid in the community. It was a remarkable experience to be a part of and very inspiring. Each evening we would meet in the Superdome where the New Orleans Saints play football. We had concerts and inspiring speakers. And when the mayor came to and spoke to us on Saturday evening, he said, "What you all have done in our community in a week would have taken us at least 3 years." I was touched by that. And when I returned, I happened to have signed up the Tuesday I returned and shared that with our city council and said, why can't we do something like this in our own community, but obviously on a smaller scale? The simple answer was, why not? So the city gave us the first project, the painting over the graffiti under the 101 bridge, which we happen to have done for the 7th time last Saturday. It's an ongoing kind of thing, but you can see it's very colorful, but there are gang symbols and words that we probably wouldn't appreciate. So I talked to my colleagues in town and I said, would any of you like to join together and do community service in the name of Christ in our community? Many said, that's a great idea, Carl, but we don't know what to do or how to do it. Whatever you come up with, we're behind you. Well, I knew I had many colleagues of us who had been in the community for over 10 years, and we had a mutual respect, love, and trust among one another. And when you have that on any group, you can get a lot done. So we gathered at Presker Park, and one pastor brought a guitar, we sang a song, another shared a prayer, and within a little bit, we were down in the riverbed, and this is what it looks like. And so there were lots of youth there, and there was great joy among the volunteers. And not only did they paint the walls, but they would paint each other. And everyone kept coming up to me saying, this is awesome. What are we doing next year? I said, I have no idea. But I said, but God knows. And I'm here to tell you today, God's been making it clear to me and our leadership team for now 16 years. And so we had a big picnic there in Presker Park, and then we launched into our second year. We did those first 2 years, just did one event. The city asked if we would help this home and build a fence for them. But when I went to visit the woman and saw her home, I said, you need to paint your home. We didn't even have any money. I just trusted that there would be companies in town that would give us paint, and they did. And so one of our volunteers had equipment. We painted the house, we built the fence, and another home that we had was this backyard. And a lot of stuff came out of that house and that yard, and this is what it looked like when we were done. And I remember the city lawyer and group called me the Monday following and said, we need to talk to you. And I thought, uh-oh, did I do something wrong? And when I came to this meeting, they said, thank you, thank you, thank you. We've been citing these 2 homes for years and nothing has ever happened. And in one day, your group changed it. We were starting to take off, and I realized we needed a logo. So here's our logo. We had a graphic artist that we knew who donated his services. I just love it with these hands, serve Santa Maria. And this is our theme. We love because God first loved us. And so we made colorful t-shirts like I had seen in New Orleans we sold them all, even made some more money because we were given some money by the Santa Barbara Foundation. So we wouldn't be where we are today without them. But this is a typical kind of gathering for us in the Molinano Center. It was like this on Saturday. We have served in mobile home parks. We have done landscaping in our city. We've enhanced our parks. We've painted benches, and we've done whole streets. painting neighbors' fences and things. We have painted homes. And I asked for a group from St. Joseph High, Elizabeth Gregory, who was the campus pastor at the time. I said, I need about 25 students who can work all day and not complain. And they did not complain. And we painted this house. And all the neighbors thought that this house had been condemned, and we had the tree done and painted the house, and yeah, we did it in one day. We have painted churches in our community. But the thing I'm here really to share with you tonight, as we've done so much, it was in April of 2015 that Battles Elementary School, the principal, Carly Groover, had asked if we could send some volunteers to the school to paint this United States map. And what I do on the day of our service, after lining everything up, is I go around and I visit as many projects as I can and get pictures and then write a report. When I saw this map in 2015, I said to myself, this is really cool. We need to do this for every school in our community. And that's what we've been working on for 10 years. Here's Sanchez Elementary, Rice Elementary, Bonita Elementary, Arianas Elementary, Arianas Junior High. And this is kind of what it looks like when we're painting the map. There's students all over it, coloring in their states. This is Fairlawn. We just heard from them a little bit ago. Zodiac, who had done the map at this school years ago and it had really faded, we came in and touched it up and refreshed it. We've been at Adam Elementary, and this is what it looks like. There's a stencil that we put down the week before. It's little dots on newsprint that are all connected together about the size of your fingernail. We connect the dots. You get a stencil like, or an outline like this, and then our volunteers come in and fill it in with color, and it just looks so cool. We've been to Dunlap Elementary, and we had an artist do this as well for the school. Her children were in the school, and she wanted to do this. We've been to Patterson Elementary and even painted a buddy bench. I didn't know what a buddy bench was. A buddy bench is when you need a friend at the school. You go sit on the bench, and hopefully somebody comes over and becomes your buddy. I thought that was a brilliant idea by a principal at Pattern Elementary. We've done a few buddy benches. And that same artist wanted to do the mascot for Patterson. And so it was at that time and early on, after a few years, that some of our volunteers said, hey, let's just not paint the map, let's paint the playground. So we started doing Foursquare. And then we went to Alice Shaw and did the Foursquare and the map. And we did one on this playground, and out to the left, we did another one for their upper grades. We did Jimenez Elementary. We've done Orchid Academy, Pine Grove Elementary with the tetherball, Foursquare, hopscotch. And when I saw this at Pine Grove, there was something about those Foursquare that I kept looking at them, said, why is that so familiar? Because that is the Microsoft colors. And so that's what the playground looks like. And we did this is the lower playground up above. They have an upper playground, and we painted the United States map and the world map on both of those places. And then we've been to Miller School, and it's just great seeing young people enhancing their school and turning a black and white playground into a colorful place to play. I just think all kids ought to have a great place to play at recess. So our volunteers come in, spruce up the school, and yeah, it's just been wonderful. So the school colors at Miller are blue and gold, and so here's their school. We've been out to Guadalupe, to Kermit McKenzie Middle School, to Mary Buren Elementary. And it was while we were there about 3 years ago that Mary Buren had this world map on it that was really faded. And so we touched it up. And I found this, the map and the stencil on the same place where we got the U.S. map. It is called Peaceful Playgrounds, an educational site. So now, over the past 3 years, we have started doing the world map as well. It's a little more complicated, but we're doing it. We've been to Robert Bruce, and this is the principal at Robert Bruce. She asked if the black and red, their colors, could be put on their school. So all the tetherball are done in that way. Here's more from Robert Bruce that we did. This is Benjamin Foxen Elementary. And we've also done the YMCA. We've done St. Mary's Elementary. And we've done, just last May, we did El Camino Junior High with the world map and the United States map. And two social studies teachers were walking by as we were doing this, and they said, "Oh, we can't wait to use this tool." So you can teach geography in the classroom, but it'd be so much more fun to do it on the playground. And so we went down to St. Louis de Montfort back in May. So that's Serve Santa Maria. I just want to give you a minute report on what we did last Saturday, the scope of it. Here's our opening. Here's Fessler Junior High that we visited. This is what it looks like when we're painting the playground. Yes, you get paint all over you, and kids all love it. And so some just lay down, and it's just involved in their artwork. It's great. Here's the world map at Fessler Junior High. This is Liberty Elementary. Maps are in progress. This is what it kind of looks like with people all over it. And then when it's all done, you get all the volunteers together. Looks like this. And I just think this is probably the best we've ever done. We started adding the blue ocean around it. And then here's our mayor. In the middle of these 5 people, Mayor Alice Patino, planting trees at the Japanese Community Center. On the right is Gloria Flores, one of our council members, City of Santa Maria, with people from her church, and they were at 2 different play areas spreading bark. North Prescott Ranch Park, Palabra Miel Church did this project. We've worked in people's houses and helped them. Many seniors sometimes are overcome by their yard, need some help. We did 4 different seniors' yards this time. We painted the bathroom at Prescott Park, and then we did underneath the bridge, painting it for the 7th time. So that's it. Serve Santa Maria in November 8th will be partnering with Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Their motto is "No kid in our town sleeps on the floor." Well, we are all very well aware that many children in our community do sleep on the floor. And so we're trying to do something about that. This will be our 3rd time working with Sleep in Heavenly Peace and Home Depot. I think what Serve Santa Maria has become is a collaboration between city government identifying places, businesses who've come alongside of us, nonprofits bringing them in, a lot of connection with the schools, and then of course the faith community, which I think are primarily our volunteers. Home Depot is going to donate about $10,000 to this home build on November 8th. So it's a lot of fun to be involved with this, and I would encourage anybody to sign up. Go to our website. I'll be putting information out there in the next couple of weeks for November 8th. That's my report. Serve Santa Maria, loving God and loving our neighbor. After surviving cancer last year, I decided that since I lived, I should write down the history. And so what you see here is 103 pages of history of Serve Santa Maria with pictures. Half of it are pictures because I'm a photographer. I've been on all 7 continents photographing for a Christian travel company. It's been a miracle in my life, so I feel a need to bless others as I have been blessed. Thank you for your time. Did any of you know that we were doing this on the school playgrounds? You've seen it. Okay. When I was talking with Mrs. Cordero, she wasn't aware that we were doing this, and I thought, well, maybe there are others on your school board that didn't realize that we're a force in this community for good. We're all about good news.
Yes, and I appreciate being contacted and reminded about this because all of the paintings, specifically at our school sites, have occurred since I've actually not been working at a school site. So we want to acknowledge our appreciation, not only to you, Pastor Carl, but to Serve Santa Maria. And we have a little certificate of appreciation.
Oh, like I say, I didn't come for recognition. I came to share.
Yeah. That's a nice background. Yeah. I don't like what you did, Thank you so much. That was sweet. Thank you. Our air conditioning.
All right, here we go.
All right, everyone. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, so.
Yes. Oh, cool. Hey, just to let you know, it's taken us 10 years to do all of these schools, and I now can count on one hand the schools we have not been to.
Well, the other thing that I did not realize was that so many students are involved in this process, and I think that's wonderful.
Oh, we couldn't do it without all of the students. Many of our volunteers now are coming out from the schools, so our organization has just grown beyond my wildest dreams. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It is now public comment period. Are there any public comments?
Yeah, we have one public comment, non-agenda item. Cheryl Hassan.
Good evening, board. I hope you guys all had a nice summer. This evening, I'm here for 2 reasons. One, to clear something up from the last time I was here when I was talking about the bond. I know how the bond works, and a bond and a grant, and I know all that. Craig Beebe, when he was on the school board years ago when Sousa Center was built, he explained it all to me. So I was just using that as an example of how you ask us taxpayers to do a bond to build new schools or repair schools, which they need, but you guys have so much waste and so much, you buy things that we don't need, like the few cars that we just got this year. Between the cars, and you guys all live in California, you know our car rents, our insurance for cars have gone sky high. So that's more money that you guys are using when you guys are telling us classified people, we don't have money. Plus, looking into seeing about hiring 5 new directors. But we don't have enough for our backbone of our schools, for our raises. But the raise that you guys offered us isn't even enough to pay for the raise in my insurance, for my health insurance, which is almost $500. The 1% wouldn't even cover that. I'd still be losing money after working here over 30 years. You know, you guys have really disappointed me extremely. And Ms. Cordero knows I don't talk in public very often. I don't like to until I get mad or get upset. And I've been upset with you guys since the first month I've come, and I've been here every month except June because I was out of town. But to remind you guys, we are here. We're going to fight you guys. You guys, we want you to listen to us. You guys say how much we are important to you, but you don't show it. Talk is just talk. Talk is cheap. And you guys have not shown, you're classified, how much you care for us. What would you do without any of us? You tell me. And I've asked you over in each time I've come up and talked to come to the schools and see what we're seeing without telling the administration or anybody you're coming. Make surprise visits and you'll really see what's going on. I remember, like I've said before, I remember Craig Beebe doing that. I remember the older ones doing it. They'd just show up and say, hi, how are you guys doing? What's going on? Can you tell me what we need to do? And I have not seen that with any board for quite a long time, unless unless we're told, oh, we're getting Dr. McGuffey coming today. So everybody, like, you know, your parents are coming, so you're going to clean up everything. And that's what happened. You need to just show up. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Right. Item 9, approval of the agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you. It has been moved by Mr. Valencia and seconded by Ms. Cabral to approve the agenda as presented. Roll call, please.
Mr. Valencia,
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead,
Aye.
Mr. Lara,
Aye.
Ms. Cabral,
Aye.
Mrs. Cordero.
Aye. Motion carries. Consent items. Item 10, actions proposed for the consent agenda are consistent with adopted policies and approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. They will be acted upon by roll call vote in one motion without discussion unless members of the board request an item's removal from the consent agenda, in which event it will be taken up in the order indicated on the main agenda. Is there anything that,
Yes.
yes?
The last meeting I asked about, board policy 6142.93 and 0.94, and was not clear apparently in my ask or my request to discuss those. So they're being presented to us this evening to vote on and approve, and we haven't had any discussion with them or a chance to look at them as a first reading. So I would ask that we pull both of those items and include them in discussion so that we can discuss this evening, and then they can come back as a second read and we can approve them.
You don't have a page number for them, do you?
44 and 45.
Okay. Nope.
41, 42.
Oh, sorry. On the online, they're 40, on the one that was sent to me, it was 44 and 45. Sorry.
And those have to do with science instruction and history, social science instruction. So item 10A3.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second.
It has been moved by Mr. Valencia and seconded by Mr. Laura to approve the amended consent agenda. Roll call.
Mr. Valencia,
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead,
Aye.
Mr. Lara,
Aye.
Ms. Cabral,
Aye.
Mrs. Cordero.
Aye. Action item. Sorry, I lost my page there. Item 11, action items. certification of the 2024-25 unaudited actuals.
Well, good evening, board. So I will be reviewing our 24-25 unaudited actuals. So before I begin, what are unaudited actuals? So in the month of July and August, business services team, we work on closing the prior fiscal year. So for half of July and most of August, I worked on closing fiscal year 24-25. Once we close the year, then we have our financials for the year. At that point, our auditors have not reviewed them yet. We have our final audit in a few weeks. So that's why they're called unaudited actuals. And that's what we'll be going over this evening. So what we'll look at expenditures by function, revenues, expenditures, and fund balance by funding source. We'll look at some historical spending, and then lastly, Form CEA. General fund expenditures by function. So functions represent the what or activities or services performed. So our instruction makes up about 55% of our expenditures, and that's anything attached to the district's interaction of teachers and students. So it's teachers, assistants, equipment, and technology. Instruction-related services make up 11%. That includes administration, technical, and logistical support of instruction. We have our people services, makes up 9.1% of our expenditures. It's included counselors, psychologists, health services, transportation. We have our plant services. It's our operations and maintaining the facility. Also includes our capital improvement projects. That makes up 17.7%. Our general admin, 3%. That's HR, fiscal services, superintendent, board, staff development. And then lastly, our other outgo, 3.9, 15 million. Part of what's in there is our payments to the county office for the services they provide through the SELPA for some of our students. So here's our unaudited actuals. The blue is unrestricted, the green is restricted, and the last column there is the total. So for the year, our revenue is $359.2 million, expenditures of $394.9 for total deficit spending of $38.8 million. And that's made up of unrestricted deficit spending of 23.5 and restricted of 15.2. So moving on, our revenue, expenditures, and fund balance by funding source. I know I've brought this slide many times to the board. I feel this is the most important slide in the presentation because it breaks it apart by funding streams, our different buckets. So the blue is the unrestricted. Our general fund unrestricted less LCAP and solar projects, deficit spending of $1.8 million. So we have the three blue. And then the green, restricted education, that's title funds, special education, local. Restricted education recovery, that's our ELOP dollars and a lot of our one-time dollars. Restricted recovery COVID, that's the last of our federal COVID dollars we received. And then restricted operations, it's mainly of our routine restricted maintenance, where we put 3% every year into our routine restricted maintenance to maintain our facilities in our schools. So all the way to the right, that last column is the total. And so if you look at the last column there, the deficit spending of 38.8, and you go over to the left of that, that's what it's made up of. And the two major ones that make that up are restricted education recovery deficit spending of 23.4, and then our solar project of 17.1. And a lot of those dollars are all one time. So looking at our historical spending, I pulled this report directly from Escape, which is the district's financial and position control system. Some of the facts, since 2021, we received about $140 million in one-time funds. In 24-25, we have $4 million of unspent solar project. That'll be expensed in 25-26. And then we had our LCAP rollover dollars of 11.4. And for the last two fiscal years, we spent about 70 million of one-time funds. So the takeaway is our spending is increasing, and other funding sources have come to the district to fund activities over the last 4 or 5 years. And then lastly, for 24-25, at the bottom of the arrow there, calculated any fund balance. Our ending fund balance went down by $38.8 million in 24-25. That's us finally spending all those one-time dollars we've received over the number of years. So moving on, I've presented this the last couple of years. Form CEA. This is a calculation of the current expense of education, CEA. It's a legal requirement and it's used to determine the percentage of expenditures for the district's classroom costs of teaching students. Included in the calculation are salaries and benefits of teachers and paraprofessionals, and it's measured against the total expenditures of the district. Certain categorical programs are excluded from the calculation. That's salaries and benefits from the general fund, and the required percentages have not been amended since LCFF. And so we're an elementary school district, so we have to meet the most stringent requirement of 60%. This is an outdated form that has not been modified since LCFF was created about 13 years ago. So how many districts don't meet this requirement? As of 23-24, for elementary school districts, over 59% of the districts didn't meet this requirement. It's because we have the highest threshold to meet, which is 60%. If you look back at 2012-13 into 2014-15, those 2 years when LCFF came around, it went from 31% to 40% of elementary schools not meeting the requirement, and now 9 years later, we're almost at 60%. And the 1 year we did meet it was in 1920, and that was at the start of COVID. So I think the start of COVID kind of helped us out and pushed us up to meet the requirement there. So the last slide on this, the district has submitted an application for exemption for the Form CEA. So if you don't meet it, you can ask the county for an exemption, a waiver of the requirement. And so the waiver can be approved by the county based on having average teacher salaries that are above average like-kind districts. And so the following analysis there is what I did submit with the district's waiver request. Basically, it shows that our beginning average and max salaries are higher than like-kind districts. And there's criteria how you pick like-kind that the county gives you. And so also important, we had $34 million of one-time dollars in 24-25. One-time dollars are used for one-time expenditures. And so by having those expenditures, one-time expenditures in there, it skews it and makes it harder to meet the requirement. And so take 1 minute to kind of describe a little bit of history. So every year we've always submitted the exemption waiver right when I close the year and before our audit is done. But in 23-24, the county office changed the process for submitting an exemption waiver. The district had to receive an audit finding. Once we receive the audit finding, then we can apply for the waiver. But last year, our auditors, they gave us the audit finding, and their recommendation was to meet with the county before and be proactive, get a waiver exemption, give it to the auditors, and then we wouldn't have an audit finding. So I've sent it to the county. I'm still waiting to hear. So I'll let you know how that plays out. And I can answer any questions.
Fine. Did you, on that last bit, did you say that that those one-time funds are included in the calculation for the CEA?
Yeah.
Okay. Which means that we may get closer to 60 when we no longer have that available?
Maybe. Like I mentioned, since LCFF came around, I'm thinking way back to 2013, they took about 42 to 52 somewhere in their categorical programs, made them not categorical, made it unrestricted general funds to spend on whatever we see fit. So we still spend some of those funds on those programs for back when they kind of made them unrestricted. And just the funding mechanism of how we receive funding through the LCFF makes it harder. Like I mentioned, we went from 30 to now almost 60% in the 13 years.
Can you please go back to one of the initial slides, one of the pie charts, the first couple of slides? There we go. I'm curious, how does our district compare to similar sized districts when it comes to this data here? I'm assuming this is, the percentages, right, of, our expenditures. How does it relate to similar sized districts?
I've only run this for our district, expenditures by function, so kind of the activities that we do have. I haven't compared us to any other like-kind districts our size, unfortunately.
And I ask because I'm curious to know, are we within like a norm, if you will, in terms of the range of our expenditures in these areas, or are we higher or lower in other areas, which might be good or bad, So I'm just curious to know what we look like compared to other districts.
Yeah, given the way we receive our funding and the makeup of our students and how we receive our funding, I think similar districts to ourselves would be it would be comparable. But like I said, I haven't done the research on it.
Okay. Yeah, if it doesn't take a ton of our staff time, I'd be curious to know more about that.
I can put something together.
Thank you.
So I think it was called the CEA calculation.
Yes.
Would you go to that slide again? So the one right before that. So no, right there.
Okay.
So in 24-25, we had a 53.2%. And the pie chart that we just looked at showed, I believe, 55.3% going to teacher salaries and direct expenditures. Are those two basically connected?
So the Form CEA, the SACS forms, the state's forms that the CDE says we have to use, they do the calculation automatically in the SACS forms, and so they pull out certain things like transportation and capital expenditures. They have their own formula for way it's calculated, and then we just kind of get the results. Over the years, I've dug in to try to recreate it. I've gotten close, but this Form CE is the one that spits out the percentage of expenditures, but it has to be tied directly to we have salaries that are outside of the classroom. So those salaries that are outside of the classroom are not included in the Form CEA, but don't help us because they're not a teacher in the classroom and aide in the classroom.
I think another way to think about it is that there's a correlation between the numbers, but it's not a direct connection.
Okay.
When you're doing your accounting by function, which is the pie chart piece, it's a very different set of numbers and rules that govern the chart of accounts and the creation of that function code for certain activities than this, which is much more connected just to classroom instruction.
Okay. So it would seem, just a simple observation is that the percentage of elementary districts that do not meet the requirements has increased every single year since 2012-13. So whoever is responsible or receives that report are there consequences? I saw something about submitting a waiver. Has there been discussion of revising or recalculating that requirement? If so many districts cannot meet that requirement, it can't across the board be some kind of mismanagement or misuse of funds or anything like that.
So per School Services of California, in order to change this Form CEA, it needs to go through the legislature and they need to make the change. They did a great thing back in 2013 with the LCFF and the way we got funded, but they didn't change this piece because it is outdated.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I think, Ms. Cordero, this is for the most part a non-issue. Like you're correct. With as many districts failing, it is more likely that a district is going to be failing this calculation than not. And so in many ways it's a non-event, and in many ways it's something we cannot fix. Like we can't come up with a way to meet that requirement. And if you're in a county that doesn't require you to get an audit finding and go through all those pieces, then it's not as big a deal in that county. In Santa Barbara County, because they're requiring school districts to get the waiver first, in some places there's been a lot of publicity around it. And so our interest in bringing this to the school board tonight is not to make this a big deal, but to ensure that you have the information behind the calculation, the commonality with so many other districts, so that if you do hear about it because someone else is in the paper or in the press about it, you have the information you need to talk about it.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? If not, can I have a motion to approve the unaudited actuals?
I'll go ahead and move that the Board of Education approve the 2024-25 unaudited actuals as presented and forward a positive certification to the county superintendents of schools.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Cabral and seconded by Mr. Hollinshead to approve the
I'm sorry.
Did I mix those up?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. To approve the 2024-25 unaudited actuals and forward the positive certification to the county superintendent of schools. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. And note that you're first on the agenda today. I don't know if my mentioning that numerous times made a difference or not. Item 11B, Arts and Music in Schools Annual Report. Mrs. Grock is bringing her troupe. And we could spell that with two O's or with an OU.
We could.
And an E on the end.
Good evening, everyone. On November 8th, 2022, California voters approved Proposition 28, the Arts and Music in Schools, or AMS, Funding Guarantee and Accountability Act. The measure required the state to establish a new ongoing program supporting arts instruction in schools beginning in 2023-24. Last year, our total funding allocation was $2,967,635. Because 80% of the allocation must be spent on teachers, we were not able to fully expend the funds. We are still on the hunt for VAPA specialists, but last year we were able to increase to a team of 9. This year we have 16 and more to come. So in our second full allocation year, we were able to expend just less than half of our allocation on 8 VAPA instructors at 9 school sites. Though we did not fully spend the funds, and they do roll over for 3 years total. So we will not have to send the money back. So our total expenditures in 24-25 were $1,362,106. Local education agencies with 500 or more students are required to ensure that at least 80% of AMS funds are expended and used to employ certificated and or classified employees to provide direct arts education program instruction. And the remaining funds may be used for training, supplies and materials, and arts educational partnership programs, with no more than 1% of the funds received to be used for an LEA's administrative expenses. So 24-25 was the second apportionment. In our second year, we were able to provide VAPA lessons to 9 schools, grades 1 through 6, using 8 VAPA specialists and no classified personnel. This represented direct, high-quality visual and performing arts instruction to 5,945 students. We also were able to provide access to the arts in the form of field trips, performances, and resident artists for over 7,000 students in the form of field trips and performances. So all told, we were able to use AMS funds to support VAPA instruction and experiences last year for 13,337 students in all 21 of our schools. Of our allocation, we spent $1.1 million on staff, $242,000 for supplies, materials, field trips, and experiences, and just $13,354 on administrative expenses, which is a simple indirect cost calculation. We are already working to expand these offerings and increasing access to the arts in the 25-26 school year. We have met the funding obligations and restrictions for our AMS funds for the 24-25 fiscal year, and we respectfully request that the board approve the Arts and Music in Schools annual report as presented. So that was all of the compliancy pieces, and I'm happy to answer questions, but we couldn't pass up the opportunity tonight to not just talk numbers and do the compliance, but to give you an actual update on what students are receiving. So I have several members of the VAPA specialist teams and the teaching and learning supplemental team here with us tonight. Included in the audience are 5 of our VAPA specialists, Andy Watson, who teaches theater, Rachel Itzstein, who teaches theater. I'm expecting you to stand up and wave. Okay, we're just going to wave. The theater people are shy. Okay, what is that? Okay. Amy Otremba, who teaches art. Yay! Linda Zahn, who teaches art. And Shelley Cox, who teaches music. Yay! We also have our Vapatosa, Kurt Payne. Yay. And the teaching and learning supplemental coordinator, Sharon Ibarra. Yay. So you don't have to listen to only my voice for the rest of the evening. I do want to call to your attention and remind you that we have written a 5-year VAPA plan from 2022 to 2027. So this year represents year 4 in our plan. According to our plan, to be on track, we need to this year recruit and hire K-6 VAPA specialists for the second of 4 teams. We have actually hired 3.5 teams, and by the end of this year, we expect to be full at 4. So we're 2 years ahead of schedule on that. We need to continue to enhance and support VAPA at the junior highs, and you'll hear about that tonight. And our goal is to codify the fundamentals, the standards-based education and lesson offerings, and process the program approvals. So really dialing in what experiences and what learning students are doing across the VAPA domains at the different grade levels. That's the work of this year, and we now have a team to do that work. So I'm very excited about it. I would now like to welcome to the lectern Shelley Cox, who will speak a little bit about Focus Area 1 of our VAPA plan.
Thank you so much. So Focus Area 1, access to the arts, giving access to standards-based and culturally relevant VAPA curriculum. I'm going to jump ahead one slide. I'll come back to that one. So right now, as mentioned before, we have 3 teacher teams. We are in 13 schools. We are providing the PLC release time for general education teachers. We have music, visual arts, dance, and theater, and we're teaching from 1st through 6th grade in most of the schools. Additionally, we are doing 7th and 8th at Jimenez. The students receive a 50-minute lesson once a week on an 8 to 10 week cycle. So right now, my students have music with me. At the end of my cycle, they might have art or dance or theater. Going back, there's a picture of our team from last year. And as mentioned, we've added, I'm one of the new employees from this year. This is our schedule. As you can see, we rotate through schools on different days. This means we're often in 35 different classrooms a week, sometimes 800-900 kids. And I just want to say really briefly, this is an amazing experience. I can get instruments in kids' hands, get them playing music, get them sitting in drum circle, and this is a dream come true. Music changed my life, and I am just so excited to be introducing it to kids and see the way that they light up when I walk in the door. So thank you.
Good evening, board. So beyond our VAPA specialists, we also have other opportunities for that access to arts. So if we look at our elementary sites, VAPA, of course, our VAPA specialists are providing that PLC grade level release, which is extremely important for our general education teachers to have that time to PLC. We're also providing VAPA field trips and assemblies for all of our elementary schools, as well as supporting our junior highs, expanding learning and extended day offerings and opportunities as well within the visual and performing arts, and then band 4th through 6th grade elective as well. Within junior high, we have junior high arts electives, trimester and year-long, specifically in all of our 7th grade junior high wheels, advanced art, as well as world cultural art at some of our particular junior highs. Music electives, we have 4 different sections that we offer, beginning band, advanced band, jazz band, and percussion, and then providing expanded learning opportunities and extended day offerings as well. So one of the big and actually really fun parts for my job is providing these large school experiences. So this is where we are working with community partners to bring grade level appropriate experiences for our students to be involved with the arts within our community specifically. So one that I'd like to mention that we're starting out right away with is our junior high. Junior high Spanish and ethnic studies classes. About 500 students in total will be going to the Santa Barbara Bowl to participate in, it's called La Muerta, and it's the celebration of life and death. And they'll be doing that in October. It's pretty exciting for them. And that particular performance is addressed specifically for junior high and high school students. So that's why we did that particular focus. We've also been working with PCPA on their fall theater assemblies where they come to our sites. So we are offering that for all 17 of our elementary schools, as well as we have Cal Poly Arts Foundation is providing Mariachi Garibaldi will be performing at Bonita Elementary and El Camino Junior High, December 16th. They'll be bringing that assembly to the campus. And then we have grade level experiences for all of our different grade levels. First grade, Curious George at the Performing Arts Center. Second grade, Peter and the Wolf. Third grade, Dogman. Fourth grade is Santa Maria Philharmonic. Fifth grade will be Catman and Tom Toms. Sixth grade will be Giordano Dance at Chicago. 7th and 8th grade, as I mentioned, we have the experience for Spanish and ethnic studies students, and then band students, that's elementary as well as junior high. We're trying to provide them the opportunity of seeing the Strings Queens at the Slow Performing Arts, as well as the U.S. Army Band and Chorus. And then Ms. Sharon, I'm tossing it up to you. Oh, sorry. She's like, wait, you're jumping ahead. So some of our growth areas, though, as Lori mentioned earlier, we need to finish our hiring on our Team D so that we have 4 full teams in place for our PLC release. Continuing to have elective opportunities at the junior high in theater, dance, and media arts. And then offering ballet folklorical classes at all the elementary schools through our expanded learning programs. And then continuing to work with the multilingual services department and being able to deepen our offerings and culturally responsive experiences.
So our focus area number 2 is essential resources. So we're hoping that all students will have access to highly qualified personnel, appropriate learning spaces, discipline-specific suppliers, and performance display spaces or display spaces. So this was a picture that they took at the New Teacher Week. So of course, theater and music and visual arts teachers are being silly. So we have grown this year. So we are now at 30 instructors from 22 overall. And those come from junior high and elementary band instructors. We have 11 of those. Junior high visual arts instructors, we have 5. And then for our elementary and visual and performing arts specialist instructors, we have 3 music, 2 visual arts, 4 dance, and 5 theater instructors. And then our supplies. So that's another essential resource that we need for our students. We have band equipment and paper and chalk and oil pastels and all the things that they need to do all of these fun things during their PLC time or when our teachers go to PLC. And so that funding comes from the AMS Foundation, or the AMS, which is our Prop 28. It's our art and music in schools that Lori just went over. Brooks Foundation, where we have instruments, private lessons, and field trips from that fund. And then some of our LCAP and some of our ELOP if it's an after-school activity. Okay, so we provide all the materials, all of the supplies, all of our instruments so that our students don't have to purchase instruments. And then our plans for growth for area number 2. As you can see right here, there's classes, there's a music band that's outside. So that's not the most ideal for them. Same with dance. They're dancing on hard surfaces and it's kind of hard to move your feet on the concrete and the blacktop. So we're hoping that in the future, our master facilities plan will provide dedicated spaces for our VAPA classes and students will have a classroom to go to do all those, to do our art and our music and everything. And back to Kurt.
So next I get to talk about curriculum, which that's always the highlight for me, right? It's that standards-based curriculum. The unfortunate thing that I have to report to the board is there's not a lot of new curriculum, once again, from CDE that's really been approved for the arts. Even though we're growing as far as AMS goes with the state movement, we're not getting a lot of support as far as approval for approved actual curriculum. So there's still some that we're still piloting and exploring that are approved, and then there are other supplemental curriculums that we are also using and working with. So these are all the particular ones that we have. What we've done in areas that we feel like we don't have as much curriculum is we're going to our experts. We're going to our community partners. So Santa Barbara Education Office, Children's Creative Project, going and having our teachers work with those experts on standards-based instruction. What does that look like, even though there isn't a particular type of curriculum? But within our focus is that culturally responsive curriculum and looking at that. That's a forefront. So our approved curriculums that we are using, so Flex curriculum is our art curriculum, visual arts curriculum. We're using that both at junior high level solely and then exploring and using that at the elementary level. That has components of culturally responsive curriculum embedded within it and exposing students to different types of culture and both faces that we see here in our community and in the world. In the same sense, we have that with music. So with our Quaver music program, you can see to the left, making music worldwide, looking at those different and what are those best practices, really focusing on that culturally responsive curriculum. So still areas of growth is piloting and trying to find new approved curriculum and working on that specifically, but also that continual work with implementing culturally relevant curriculum is an area that we continue to strive for.
Hi, I'm Linda Zahn. I'm an art teacher for visual arts. So my focus area 4, professional development. All visual and performing art teachers as well as the K-8 general classroom teachers will receive sufficient professional development opportunities to increase capacity and deliver quality arts instruction. And some of that we did last year for all of our different disciplines, we were doing different parts where we went to the junior high, or we had meetings where we had online trainings. I know with the arts, we had used the Art of Education, the Flex program. We had some online trainings. We also did some live trainings, like in our component, we had a gel painting class, which was really fun. So that was really a really great opportunity to learn a new skill that we could put into the classroom. So that was some of our opportunities. I know also that for us as the visual arts teachers, we were afforded the opportunity through the Flex program to do some summer conferences that they had a PD during the summer. So that was a really great opportunity. So do I click it? So for the 25-26 professional learning and training provided for all VAPA specialists, band teachers, and junior high arts elective teachers. So something that we did last year when we were new teachers is we met with our VAPA team and we got to talk about all the things that we needed to know. It's a lot of learning experience to the situation. They had the benefit this year of having our teams already know kind of what we were doing. So that was helpful to them. So we had a lot of opportunity for that. Thursdays, we are now having regular PLCs in the mornings and some in the afternoons. So that's been a very important component that we can meet with our team and discuss things. So that's been great. We're continuing to do ongoing professional learning. We're going to have some more opportunities to grow as all of the VAPA teachers in their disciplines directly. So I thank you.
So I just wanted to add something about this picture right here. So the young lady on the left, I taught her dance 35 years ago, and now she's here teaching for us. So she's teaching dance. So, all right, and our next focus area, number 5, is community involvement and engagement. So community members will be encouraged to be involved in being part of the learning process with SMBSD students to provide greater county-wide access and resources that will benefit all of our students. And so some of the community partners that we are working with are Santa Maria Public Library, and that's where we had our second annual district-wide art show last year that many of you attended. We work with Lynn Music for our instrument repair. All American Screen Printing does our shirts. Santa Maria Philharmonic, we take a field trip there for our 4th graders. Cal Poly Arts Foundation, Cal Poly Performing Arts Center, PCPA, come to our schools, Santa Maria Civic Theater, Allen Hancock Visual Arts Department, and working with Children's Creative Project. Okay. And then, so like I said, we were going to our district junior high art show is at the Santa Maria Public Library. So these are some of the events that we've held. Winter and spring music concerts where we invite our families and the staff members. Junior high marching band, all of the city is invited to come to that. So everyone sees our fabulous junior high marching bands. Elementary cultural heritage nights at several of our elementary schools. Our community partners are invited there, as well as our families and our staff members. And our junior high spring drama productions. So our staff and our family members are invited there and hoping to find spaces, more spaces that our students can perform at, such as theaters and not just on the blacktop or in a classroom or in a cafeteria. So we're hoping to work with more community members to get those spaces available for us. Okay. And then our last part of today is our video. So we've been talking at you a lot, so hopefully this will make your hearts happy with what's been going on.
Hyphen, second, lopen. First, hyphen, second, lopen. Do a plie, arms up, releve. Good, step to the side, one arm up, bow. First position. Step to the side, one arm up, bow, first position, and freeze. Ready? 1, 2, 3, turn your toe. And bring it back. 1, 2, 3. And bring it back. Thank you. Be true.
Thank you. It makes my heart jump with joy.
That's our presentation.
Yay.
Are there any questions?
Can we talk to them now?
Go ahead.
Oh, good. I just went to PCPA on Sunday and I saw the Kutzali advertisement, so I'm stoked to see that we're going to be doing that. I had a few questions. A lot of them you answered. Really great presentation. I appreciate all of you guys and your contributions, and it went really nicely with what you sent out, Lori, with the focus parts. So one of the things I had questions about is you talked about having like large numbers, at least there about large numbers of teachers, specialized teaching that you needed to get, but then you said your teams are fairly full. So was that need that you talked about in I think it was focus 4, maybe, is that more fulfilled and further along, like you said, than what we were given?
It's further than we had planned in the 5-year plan, but the ultimate goal is 4 full teams, which would be 18 VAPA specialists, and we currently have 15.
Well, and I guess part of what I'd seen in there and what I didn't quite get was whether you were getting people or folks who are qualified in subjects outside of music or outside of the band groups. So arts, media arts,
Right. So we have
those kinds of things.
4 job descriptions for VAPA specialists: music, art, visual arts, theater, and dance.
Mm.
And so to complete the team, we need 3 more of those. And then in addition, we have through LCAP funding, our 11 band and music specialists
Right.
for 4th through 6th grade band and junior high, and then our electives teachers at the junior high. So specifically, we are hoping to hire 3 more VAPA specialists in any of those 4 domains. And then also creating in the future more junior high offerings, which would create more FTEs of junior high elective specialists.
Awesome. Perfect. So and a couple other clarification questions. One on the Brooks Fund, we're using that for stuff outside of just instruments now?
We are using that for the 3 things that we presented to the family, or the field trip experiences, the one-on-one or very specialized instruction, and the instruments.
Oh, that's
So those
great.
are the 3 things that we spend that particular fund on.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. And then I know, Kurt, you talked about what standards look like or actually really maybe don't look like. So that was going to be a question I had, like what does a VAPA standard necessarily look like? And then secondary to that, you mentioned in one of the focus areas about pacing. So how on earth do you have pacing, or what does pacing even look like in a VAPA curriculum, especially when it sounds like in large part, we're kind of either piloting stuff or creating stuff as we go to try and fulfill, what our promise is.
You are correct. There are VAPA standards. There's an established state-adopted set of VAPA standards, K through 12, in each of the domains. The problem is that the curriculum has not come as quickly to align with those standards. So we are having to kind of map them for ourselves and find the curriculum that addresses those standards. And so, and then one of the domains, the 5th domain, the unspoken domain, is digital media. And there still isn't even a credential for digital media, but it's one of the 5 standards in the VAPA alignment of standards from the state. So we're waiting for the state to create that teaching credential so that we can then add that specialist as the 5th domain for our kids. We're just not able to do it because there is no credentialing for them yet.
And last comment, I each year over the past couple of years, I've seen the ethnic studies junior high art at Trader Joe's, because I guess that's who gives them their the brown bags to make their art from, and which is amazing and wonderful because it's in such a public place and it's a shared endeavor. But I wanted to really give you guys kudos and encourage you to seek out places maybe like Pioneers Pack. Some of those places where there's other public spaces, just like what you were saying, outside of the library. And I think, Kurt, we talked about it, trying to get art from anything like the ethnic studies class or different disciplines out there and really show what's going on and try and find some partners that'll give us that visibility. Because I think it's really important for us to be visible so that people inside the community that are not maybe parents or whomever feel some kind of attachment and understanding of what it is we're doing, maybe outside of math and English or something on those orders. But yeah, really good stuff, you guys. I know I speak for the board. I'm sure that we're all super happy with the progression of visual arts and looking forward to it really becoming more and more integral in all our kids' experience with us.
Thank you so much for those comments.
Can we please go back to the community involvement slide?
Which one would you like? This one or this one?
That one. Yeah, I'm glad that we have so many wonderful partners in the community. One of the questions that I have was, why aren't we partnering with Corazón del Pueblo? Because they're one of the few that focus on Latinos and the arts and on indigenous communities. So I'm curious as to why we haven't partnered with them at this time.
We actually have entered into conversations with them through the lead of Dr. Castillo Schiffer in multilingual, along with Kurt Artosa. So they have reached out to them and are continuing that conversation about how they might be able to serve us and how we can support them. So they're in the works.
Excellent. And the reason I think it's especially crucial to connect with them is they're led currently by two indigenous women from our community, right? And so they're extremely connected to our indigenous families. And unfortunately, not a lot of organizations are currently, women led or led by, indigenous women. So it's a critical lens, right? And experience that is local that we can definitely make sure that I want to make sure that we're tapping into. The next question is, I really appreciate the emphasis on making the content culturally relevant for our students. We know from research, right, and then just from our experiences, right, how much more our youth will engage, right, when it's content they can connect with. Have you all looked at like what percentage of our arts programming, music, theater, visual art, how much of it is connected to Latino heritage?
We haven't yet because we haven't landed the scope and sequence. So our goal for this year is to kind of establish the pacing guidance to scope and sequence, and then we would be able to audit and augment those areas that we might find lacking. So that is part of the plan 26-27.
Excellent. And then some of the feedback that I received from one of our staff members regarding the presentation tonight, I wanted to share some of the things that they brought up. So they mentioned this from one particular teacher in our district. They mentioned that they think that the DPA specialists are serving an important purpose in providing time for our PLCs, and I think that's really outstanding. I want to make sure that our staff get the support, because I know from personal experience that if the PLC time can be not as effective if staff don't have time to develop like an effective agenda, because teachers are busy. I know you all are roaming from place to place, right? So I want to make sure that those folks get the support that they need if they're going to be leading PLCs, so that time is used effectively. And it sounds like that's something that's related to a concern that a staff member brought up. I'll read briefly what they mentioned. They said, a weakness in the plan is that there are no performances and very little parent engagement. I would think this money could also be used for after-school clubs or other programs that could provide for more parent performances. I would like to note the unique experiences for a child to get up on stage and perform, and that this is an essential part of the performing arts. So what are your folks' thoughts on that, based on those concerns?
So as for the structure of PLC, all of our sites are supported through WestEd, and CORE does support what happens in PLC while VAPA is taking the classes. I feel very comfortable that they are well supported, but we could certainly reach out to CORE for more details on that. In terms of performances, as we spoke to in the slide deck, the struggle is the space for performances. We don't have a lot of school facilities that are amenable to large scale performances. We continue to work on that. We continue to work on partnerships with Ethel Pope Auditorium, the library, all of those places as well. And we continue to work with the architect and builder for the new bonded school to hopefully also provide another space. Our goal for each VAPA team is to this year kind of assess the possibility of having a culminating activity at the end of each cycle, so those 8 to 10 week cycles, so that we could have a parent night with a short performance by the theater and dance students, an art gallery, and maybe some music recordings, those sorts of things. We're working on that now with the goal of creating something that by next year we'll be able to implement, so that every site would have 4 parent nights a year, one after each cycle, where all of those students are highlighted. We also are working closely with Samantha in social media to get those clips and things out so that at least they do get some Instagram fame or some Facebook fame and a recording of their performances. And then as to the third point that you made for after-school clubs, we do spend quite a bit of this money on after-school clubs. We spend ELOP money as well as AMS money on visual and performing arts offerings in expanded learning. We are bringing Ballet Folklorico to all 21 of our sites as an after-school program that is fully supported by supplemental. That includes a 45-minute dance lesson and a 45-minute cultural classroom learning so that they can connect what they're doing on the dance floor with why that's relevant in the culture that it comes from. So we're starting all of those now and building those out so that they'll be out to schools by the end of the year. So we definitely do all of those sorts of things in after-school clubs. And we also this year had VAPA specialists at all of our Camp Elevate summer schools as well. So kids are getting lots of investment through different avenues for these instruction, not just the 50 minutes a week.
Thank you very much.
Just one real quick one add, and I think it kind of goes well with what Mr. Valencia was talking about is living. I mean, every year we have that big, beautiful stage facing us right while we're doing our new teachers, and every year it goes unused. So I think that can really be a focal point for some of what we're talking about, what Mr. Valencia is alluding to in that parent participation. And I would even add to that, when I forgot to say this, is some of those performances, not just of our kids, but the performances that our kids go to are hopefully there's parents going to those as chaperones, but also creating a means for them, if they're not chaperones, to go if they'd like to as well. I know when we've done field trips and parents go along for those, that's a really great learning experience, and it certainly creates a point of discussion that happens outside of the classroom and maybe in the home about something that's really relevant to their school day and to their school experience.
Thank you for those comments.
Is there a motion, please?
I'll motion that the Board of Education approve the Arts and Music in Schools Annual Report and the VAPA update as presented.
I'll second.
It has been moved by Mr. Valencia and seconded by Mr. Lara to approve the Arts and Music in Schools Annual Report and the VAPA update as presented. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Groff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much.
And I've seen things going on in the classrooms and the summer, during the summer school program that give credibility to everything that you're talking about. And I think our students have dramatically increased access to those kinds of things than even 10 years ago. So I see us as making significant progress. So thank you.
Okay.
Item 11C, public hearing on the joint sunshine proposal of the Santa Maria Bonita School District and the Santa Maria Elementary Educators Association for the successor to the collective bargaining agreement for certificated bargaining unit members expiring June 30, 2026. That was a mouthful. So this is the public hearing. So I will pound my gavel and see if we have anybody that wants to stand up and say anything. The hearing is open. Come on, jump up, rush up here. Chop, chop. Seeing no response, we will move on to item 11D, discuss, Oh, sorry. It is officially closed. Moving on to item 11D, discuss and approve. And you want me to say it all again, right? The joint sunshine proposal of the Santa Maria Bonita School District and the Santa Maria Elementary Educators Association for the successor to the collective bargaining agreement for certificated bargaining unit members expiring June 30, 2026. Dr. Bland.
Well, good evening, board. Dr. McDuffie. I am excited to be joined by our labor partners from SMEA. I'd want to welcome President Kristen Lohr and also lead negotiator Jonathan B.A. up here with me. Tonight, the Santa Maria Bonita School District has prepared its sunshine proposal for the successor to the current collective bargaining agreement with the Santa Maria Elementary Educators Association, SMEA. The existing agreement is set to expire on June 30th, 2026. In accordance with applicable laws and regulations, the district's proposal identifies that the entire collective bargaining agreement will be open for successor negotiations. Opening the full contract creates an opportunity for the district and SMEA to work together in the spirit of collaboration and problem solving. This approach reflects our belief that all people belong, have a voice, and can contribute, while ensuring that the agreement supports a student-centered cultural distinguished, while ensuring that the agreement supports a student-centered cultural distinguished by a whole set child's approach, an inclusive environment, community and family engagement, transformational innovation, and highly effective staff. Through this process, the district reaffirms its commitment to attracting and supporting, retaining high-quality employees so that every student can flourish by discovering their passion and purpose, exercising self-determination, and developing the skills to reach their maximum potential. By moving forward with this sunshine proposal, the district reaffirms its commitment to strengthening its partnership with SMEA in support of staff, students, and the broader Santa Maria community. And I wanted to see if our labor partners had anything else to share. I don't know if you guys would like to say anything.
Good evening. I just wanted to express our gratitude on behalf of the negotiating team to Dr. Bland for including us in the, I believe, unprecedented joint sunshining. So we appreciate that, him reaching out to us to include us in this process. Further, I just want to express the excitement that our team has. We're at the table tomorrow morning for our first session of this cycle. We're very excited about continuing the collaboration that we've been developing with the district's team these last several years, and are excited about the idea and potential of continuing to foster the trust that's been developing among the parties. And I think that this cycle will continue to put us further down that path. So thank you for this opportunity to speak to you this evening. Thank you.
I'd like to also add some thanks that when we walk this path together, I know Dr. McDuffie, President Cordero, the trust and the whole idea of supporting each other so people feel value. We heard a little bit from the room about a unit that does not feel valued right now, so I hope we can just spread this love a little further to widen our sphere of influence of value, because ultimately, when we do a great job, students succeed. And I know that so many have put in so many selfless efforts. At the end of the day, we all really want to appreciate a strong school and thriving students. So we really want to make sure we appreciate all the labor partners today as we start walking this path together in our sunshine movement. And so thank you for taking this special step forward with us. The association wishes to make sure that we educate, protect, and empower our members. And all of that, there's an underlying current of promoting education, safety, and dignity and the rights for our students and families. They're a part of our labor team too, because so many of our partners have students in the school, families in the school, generational. Actually, our students are now our teachers. We've heard about that today. For Sharon's dance student is now teaching VAPA. So we really appreciate the integrity of the community and the support that we also need to do as labor partners with them as well. So we just thank you for this opportunity to start getting together and sunshining together to be more inclusive of making sure people feel appreciated and valued. Thank you.
So we start embarking on negotiations tomorrow. Boy, I'm really stumbling up here tonight. We know negotiations is hard work, and we know we'll have some challenging conversations and those kind of things, but we know we do this together in a partnership, and so we look forward to starting the process.
We very much appreciate that sense of collaboration and will wholeheartedly support those efforts. I'm not sure if questions would be appropriate, but any other comments?
I would just like to echo that sentiment that a big part of I don't know I'll speak for myself, but I have a feeling that my colleagues agree, is we want to create a culture of trust and respect, and I'm looking forward to these negotiations being cordial. They're not going to be easy, right? But I do believe in honoring our hardworking staff and being mindful of our budgets, obviously, as well. And I think we can come to a positive outcome if we're transparent and if we operate with professionalism, which, I'm excited to continuing to see. And this is indicative of that, right? What I'm seeing here. So I'm looking forward to hearing that take place.
Thanks for walking the walk and being a great example and a great start.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the joint sunshine proposal of the Santa Maria Bonita School District and the Santa Maria Elementary Educators Association, SMEA, for the successor to the collective bargaining agreement for certificated bargaining unit members expiring June 30th, 2026, as presented.
I'll second.
It has been moved by Mr. Hollinsett, seconded by Mr. Valencia, to approve the joint sunshine proposal as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. I just can't speak as quickly as you, Mr. Hollinsett.
Well,
I just can't. I've practiced and I still can't. 11E, Resolution 25-01, National Hispanic Heritage Month. Dr. McDuffie?
Thank you. Thank you, President Cordero. Each year, Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated from September 15th to October 15th to recognize the history, culture, and contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans. Given that a majority of the Santa Maria community identifies as Hispanic or Latino, this month serves as an important opportunity to honor the heritage and traditions that shape our students, families, and broader community. The district supports educational activities and celebrations during this time to deepen student understanding and foster inclusivity.
Ms. Cordero, ma'am?
Yes.
I'd like to invite the board to read the resolution if they would like to. And if not, I'll read the resolution on my own.
Go ahead.
Colleagues, would you like to join me? Sure. Resolution number 25-01, Santa Maria Bonita School District Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas Hispanic Heritage Month is observed nationally from September 15 through October 15 to celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of Americans whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas September 15 is significant as it marks the anniversary of independence for 5 Latin American countries, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, and is followed by the Independence Days of Mexico, September 16th, and Chile, September 18th.
And whereas Santa Maria community is proud to be home to a rich and vibrant Hispanic population that has made profound contributions to the region's agriculture, education, economy, arts, and culture. And whereas the Santa Maria Bonita School District is committed to fostering inclusive schools that celebrate cultural diversity, promote equity, and encourage respect for all backgrounds, and
whereas Hispanic students and families represent a vital part of the school district, enriching classrooms with language, heritage, values, and experiences that strengthen the entire educational community.
Now and therefore be it resolved, the Santa Maria Medina School District hereby proclaims September 15 through October 15, 2025 as Hispanic Heritage Month in all schools throughout the district.
Be it further resolved that the board encourages school sites to recognize and honor the month through culturally relevant instruction, school-wide celebrations, classroom discussions, art, music, literature, and community partnerships that reflect the spirit and diversity of Hispanic heritage. Is there a motion?
I'll go ahead and move that the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2501, National Hispanic Heritage Month as presented.
I'll second.
It has been moved by Ms. Cabral, seconded by Mr. Valencia to adopt Resolution 25-01, National Hispanic Heritage Month. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Roll call, I'm sorry.
Mr. Valencia,
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead,
aye.
Mr. Lara,
Aye.
Ms. Cabral,
Aye.
Mrs. Cordero.
Aye. Public hearing compliance with Education Code Section 60119 and CCR Title 5, Section 9531C, sufficiency of instructional materials. A public hearing is an opportunity for anyone to make comments or speak about sufficiency of instructional materials. The hearing is open. Seeing no one coming forward, the hearing is now closed. And we move on to item 11G, Resolution 25-02. Dr. Salcido.
Good evening, President Cordero and the board. This is an annual routine evaluation of our sufficiency with our educational supplies. With the public hearing and contact with all of our schools, we have deemed that all students have access to the instructional materials as required. And so we are moving to adopt this resolution that we're in compliance with the ed code that requires us to have instructional materials for all students.
Are there any questions?
And do we have enough supplies for all of our students?
We actually do, yes. The students have all of the books that they need in their classrooms. Whenever we do this annual audit, if we find any deficiencies, we order them more materials to make sure that we have enough, because sometimes books get lost. So each year we have to count again and make sure they're all there. So we are compliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would anyone like to read the resolution?
No, thank you.
Is there a
That the
motion?
board adopt Resolution 2502, compliance with Education Code Section 60119 and CCR Title 5, Section 9531C, sufficiency of instructional materials as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Mr. Hollinshead, seconded by Mr. Valencia to adopt Resolution 25-02, compliance with Education Code Section 60119 and CCR Title 5, Section 9531C, sufficiency of instructional materials. Roll call.
Mr. Valencia,
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead,
Aye.
Mr. Lara,
Aye.
Ms. Cabral,
Aye.
Mrs. Cordero.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 12, discussion items. The first reading of the job descriptions for Director of Fiscal Services, Director of Maintenance, Operations, Facilities, and Transportation, Director of Nutrition Services, and Director of Contracts and Procurement. Mr. Beecher.
Thank you very much, Board President Cordero. Tonight, we're revisiting an item that was tabled at the end of June. At that time, I worked with the superintendent worked with the board president, requested that a presentation come back to accompany the job description to address questions that board members might have, community members might have. And so that's the purpose of tonight's presentation. Within your board item, I have some text that kind of describes the nature of the positions, the transition of the coordinator positions to director positions. And I have a lot of information in the presentation tonight that kind of highlights how we've come to the conclusion that this is appropriate and that it's the right move for the school district. But I'll highlight for you, that at the coordinator level, we're looking more at coordinating specific tasks, managing specific tasks. But what's happened is the needs of the district, the size and scale, and the complexity of the work has really changed what's needed from these folks leading this work to be more strategic, to consider long-term planning. And they're leading systems that directly impact student success and not necessarily managing and maintaining day-to-day tasks. More on expectations. The expectations for these folks is to align and support a safe, healthy, and well-resourced learning environment. They help guide policy development. They represent the district in external collaborations. I need to speak more closely to the mic. I can actually hear myself now. Navigate complex regulatory frameworks, supervise multi-tiered systems, and then optimize resource allocation. They're making important resource decisions all the time, not just financial resources, human capital, and time. Some of the most important things that need to be led and directed is the work that these folks do. And that's also what I kind of wrote there at the bottom. I won't bother reading that. The framework for our conversation tonight is to look at a few snapshots in time of this SMBSD leadership formation, just the way that the work has been coordinated over a long period of time. Then I wanted to relate the SMBSD services leadership formation to similar districts. I think that one of the questions that's always good to reflect upon when important decisions are being made is, are we creating an outlier, or maybe are we the outlier? Obviously, there's a financial implication to a decision like this. And so I want to provide that information to the school board as well. And then there's a couple other connections to make at the end as we get ready to conclude and discuss next steps. So snapshots in time of the SMBSD leadership formation. When I came to the Santa Maria Bonita School District, we had 12,815 students in 2005 and 2006. We used 57 management positions to lead that work, most of them principals. You can see there was only one director in the district across all of the service areas, using mostly coordinators to do the management around the service areas. Those are pictures of Sanchez Elementary and Taylor School. They were built the year before or the year before that. So just to give you a framework, time frame of where this was in the school district's history. In 2015-16, we had 68 management positions in the district. Again, the majority of those at school sites. We'd added significant leadership at the school sites to support our growing schools. They were getting larger and larger. We had 16,584 students in school in 2015-16. You can see a pretty big transition from having a single director to having 4 directors leading work in the ed services area. There are other changes in there, and that's not the purpose of tonight's discussion, but for me to have a really good idea of what the framework looked like, I wanted to look all the way down to the folks at the supervisor level who were working directly with employees. In 25-26, this year, kind of a snapshot this summer, this data is dynamic, coming directly out of Escape. It's changing constantly. It's very date sensitive. And so there's been changes since I ran this report 2 or 3 weeks ago. But at this time, we have 17,409 students in school. We have 98 management positions coordinating the important work of serving their learning. Again, many of those at the school site level, recognizing that their enrollment is growing, and then the complexity of running school is grown as well. We have I'm doing math in reverse. We have 8 directors leading work in 2 different service areas. If you count the CTO as a director, it's compensated on that line in our salary schedule. That's a 9th director leading the work in these service areas. But in business services, we still have 4 coordinators really leading the same level of work, the same complexity of work, and having the same impact on our operations. The most proximate school to 25-26 was Bill Libben, so I shared that picture with you. And I forgot to mention, our friends out at Jimenez are here. In 2015-16, we actually opened that school that year in 2015-16. So that information shows how directors are leading the work in other service areas in SMBSD. And I mentioned I wanted to kind of share what other districts look like just in the business service area that are in similar size. So I have a list of 10 districts that I kind of line SMBSD up along to compare. I picked the 10 districts that are either closest to our enrollment, either higher or lower. And so each of these is kind of similar in size, maybe similar in demographics, but you can see they're certainly the same size. Across the top, Santa Maria Bonita with 17,400 students and the coordinators that I've mentioned leading that work. Each of the districts that I'm comparing this to, they're using directors to lead that work. For these 4 districts, or 3, I should do math better this late at night. But there's 3 districts listed here, also using directors to lead the work in these areas. And then here, there's 3 more districts. The majority of the positions are, is this going in and out? I'm okay? All right. That's good. The majority of them are using directors to lead this work. A couple of them have managers leading work because of the way that the responsibility has been allocated. But the majority of the work, again, is being led by directors, many times by 5 directors leading the work. And so it's important for us to see that Santa Maria Bonita is the outlier, having coordinators leading the work within each of these service areas where the commonality of folks around our size, they're using directors.
Could you, yeah, you were going in and out. Can you clarify what Director 3 and Director 2, if that's anything different when they list Director 2 or Director 3?
That is different. Am I still going in and out? I might be. I'm going to try and stay close to the microphone to give you the best chance to hear the answer to your question. It is different. In doing this work, they used Director 2, Director 3, Administrative Director, Executive Director. There are a lot of different ways that they titled the position of director. And many times, based on how they felt about A2 or A3, it's compensated a little differently. I even found examples where 2 or 3 different people all had the director title and they were all compensated differently. And so it's really difficult to determine how that responsibility is connected to that title for every district. But I appreciate the question. So that's the best answer I can give you. It varies by district and how they've decided they want to use that position. So that was a lot. And I want to make sure before we get to the next set of slides that if there are any questions, I can get to those. Mr. Holland said you took advantage of this opportunity a little before I'd set the slide for it. Mhm. Try this.
One of the concerns that we've heard through public comment is along the lines of, hey, like, why are we, increasing the pay, right, for these positions, particularly for our classified staff? Am I understanding you correctly in that, like, the folks in other districts are basically already in that position, but that's not taking place in our district? Is that correct?
Correct. And I have a slide on point coming up because if you guys didn't have questions for me tonight, I went ahead and created my own questions and answers. So that's one of them. I'm glad you asked that. I have a slide for it. Other questions? We'll move on. So, Mr. Valencia, great question. And this also gets to Mr. Hollinshead's point. Because every district looks at this a little bit differently, it's really hard to come up with a way to draw a clean line across the cost of creating a director position. So what I tried to do is take the highs and the lows across each of the districts just to see what the range might be, to determine whether or not Santa Maria Bonita School District looks at the director position differently, or are we kind of in line with other school districts? So what you have here is the blue line is the lower end of the salary, and if there's multiple low ends, I averaged it, and the higher end of that salary, and if there are multiples, I averaged it, and then the average across that, so that we could see with that line going across, on average, how do we compare to other school districts? And when I look at this chart, what I see is we're not the highest and we're not the lowest. We're a little better than average, which in my mind means we have a better chance of attracting a director if we need it, right? And so that's what this tells me is we're in line and we're competitive. So that's a portion of the answer to your question, Mr. Valencia, around salary. It's appropriate compared to the districts that are sized just like us on this list. So another question has to be, how does this impact our bottom line? What I heard tonight was about creating new positions. And creating new positions can be very expensive if you're backfilling the position that it's created from. And that's not the intention tonight. That's not the intention of these positions. We have the leaders and we have the positions we need. We just, in my mind, need to create a title and job description that makes sense, and then create a compensation that aligns with that job description. So the overall cost of what that would be if this first reading advances to a second reading and the second reading is then approved, and then those coordinators are moved into those new job descriptions. The total cost is $48,000. Now that's salary, and that's PERS, and that's Social Security, and it's all those statutory benefits that add up to about 36%. So that's not all just salary. And then just for reference, that's about 0.187% of the district's total salaries. And that's a reflection again of the question, how does that impact the bottom line? There are questions on that piece?
So, and just to clarify, Mr. Beecher, so what you're indicating is obviously the change from coordinator to director?
Correct.
But are you also saying that there wouldn't be a backfilling by hiring more coordinators?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
I appreciate the clarification. Is that it? Thank you. Awesome. Good team. Next slide is, why is this important to our mission? It is important to properly reflect the responsibilities of these positions and the impact that their decisions have on the district and its mission. It's important to ensure that these roles be described in the title, in the job description, and in the compensation in ways that are consistent with other districts. And eventually, replacing these positions is going to be necessary, and it's always been a challenge. And there's a need to prepare now is a great opportunity for that to attract and retain highly qualified applicants to future recruitments. I was telling my team earlier that in the first 10 years that I was here, we recruited and replaced the coordinator for budget and finance 3 times, and we had 3 applicants for it. They hired me to do it, and we hired Beth Wilson, the only applicant. And that's not true. I'm sorry. I'll tell you the truth. The truth is that then we hired Denise Cora, and she'd been an applicant when I applied. And she came back around and got hired for that position. So that's why there's 3 applicants in 10 years. Is Denise applied twice and got it the second time. But it is a difficult job to replace. There are a lot of unique skills that are wrapped up in the people in those positions now. And then just the demands of those positions are very unique. And so to find very good people to lead that work is important. And that's a part of what this item is for tonight. Questions on that one? Thank you. So again, the next steps is this item is about our first reading of the job descriptions with a presentation about what's going on within the business services leadership formation and making changes that will make it congruent with other school districts. And then with this item, we request that the board acknowledge the receipt of this reading and presentation and the direct staff to bring the job descriptions back for a second reading at the next board meeting.
Just real quick, I know this is the first reading, but the coordinators that would have to be filling the positions, that'll be flown within the district and the employees and outside as well?
I'm going to have to work with the superintendent on how we transition this new job description into the school district. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just, Matt, I want to thank you for kind of bringing forward the full explanation of this, because I know it sounds like that there isn't clarity on that, and we do obviously want to respect folks within the district in all their different job capacities. And I know that I just want to thank you too, because I know from my time on the board and in knowing you that there have been a number of jobs, a number of folks who've performed jobs where they've exceeded the duties of and expectations of the job description and yet not been compensated for that. So I think I just want to, thank you and Dr. McDuffie and the staff for acknowledging that the folks who are doing the work, we want to acknowledge that by giving them a proper job title, but then also look at I appreciate looking towards the future, towards making it a position that will be more attractive to hire and get folks in here should the people we have either now or in the future decide to move on. Mm-hmm. But it's not I know it's not an easy thing to do in the current atmosphere of funding. So I appreciate the work you guys have done in clarifying and adding and giving out the information.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'd like to just add to that, Matt, that we have implemented a number of changes and some different practices with change in our leadership and with establishing a strategic plan and specifying goals. I know that the first year after, I'm looking right at you and going blank. Dr. Bland, thank you. I don't know why seem so tired tonight. That part of the process that we have been going through and that has been asked for a number of years, even before you all came, was the updating and calibrating of our job descriptions so that, the job duties or responsibilities actually match with what the person is doing. So I think I see this as an opportunity to accomplish that. And while we're only looking at four positions, this could happen in the HR department, or something else could happen in maintenance and operations. I noticed with some of the comparables that you shared with us that maintenance and operations is sometimes split between two different directors. So, these are all things that, as an organization, we really should be looking at. So, I appreciate the background information, the change over time, as our student population has increased, along with the number of schools that we have in our district. This is something that we need to continuously be looking at. And, while, my personal knowledge and experience on the board really has been that you as our chief business person have always been very, very fiscally conservative. And for that reason, we continue to be able to operate. And even when we had the huge financial downturn in 07, 08, we worked together and nobody lost jobs. So putting all of that information together in looking at this, those are all the considerations that I see occurring with this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? With that, then I will acknowledge receipt of the first reading of the job descriptions, and thank you. And I'm not turning the pages fast enough. I know there is something else. Item 12B, ensuring student safety and privacy for all families. Dr. Palmerston, we've made you stay the latest. So sorry.
I appreciate Brian King, giving up the last spot of the night. Thank you. I know he's itching for one last presentation. Let me get a little situated with our microphone situation and everything like that. So, thank you. Is that good? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, President Cordero, Board, Superintendent McDuffie, Cabinet, those of you still in attendance tonight and anybody watching at home. I really appreciate the opportunity to provide an update for us on our messaging and support for all students and families, ensuring student safety and privacy for all families. Our messaging and support, we want to get that up for you. Our messaging and actions around this topic really center around our beliefs. As I reflect on our messaging and support for all families and students, we begin at the top. We believe each person has inherent value and deserves respect. The second belief is our focus for the year. We believe all people belong, have a voice, and can contribute. All the way to the bottom, we believe that a unified community inspires hope and faith. So as we reflect on our current messaging and practices in ensuring student safety and privacy, we want to keep all of our beliefs in mind. Those three stick out significantly. Our commitment to safety and privacy begins with our district messaging, which was reiterated by our superintendent through a community message on December 20th, 2024, and continued to kick off this school year again with a video and messaging to our families, to our school community, and our staff. It begins with our commitment to creating safe and inclusive schools for all students and families, irrespective of immigration status, specifically as we're talking this evening. Second, we have policies and procedures in place that are longstanding and ensure the privacy of student and family information. Third, we have policies and procedures in place to ensure we notify families immediately if requests for information or access to student information or students on school grounds is made by a federal immigration officer. The information contained within these requests will be provided to families. And fourth, we are committed and continue to provide family support and planning resources to ensure students continue to attend school and have access to all of our school programs. You have seen before some of our family resources that contain those direct messages and can be found on flyers in our school offices, posted online at our family resource centers. These resources not only echo our message, but also encourage families to know their rights and available resources. Encourage families with support or independently to create a family safety plan, including caregiver affidavits authorizations. We also encourage and support families in keeping school emergency contact information updated and accurate so we can contact them immediately, whether it be for something at school, health-related issue, or something school-related, or as we talk about this issue, we're committed to notifying families immediately if requests for access to students or student information. And finally, we encourage all families to contact their school if their child needs social emotional support. In addition, we have our 3 family resource centers that are actively engaged in supporting families. This messaging has been fully supported by the school board for a long time, so I want to take a walk down a little timeline. In March 2017, the board created and adopted Board Resolution 1615 that began the commitment from the board level to supporting all students and families. In January 2019, we had board policies and administrative regulations that were adopted that specifically address our support for all families and our response if requested information or access to students at school campuses was made by federal officers. In January 2025, we had a board discussion and update on our messaging and our specific actions we were taking to support our students and families. In March, as a board, you guys adopted Board Resolution 2523 that reaffirmed the board's commitment and support for our district messaging and our actions to support all students and families. And tonight, September 2025, we get another update. So let's talk about from the board actions to next, how we've engaged our community partners in helping both support the messages we've crafted, but also amplify those voices for us in the community. You see on the screen a variety of community partners that are specifically engaged as internal partners that are connected directly to our work as a school district for either contracted services or partner services that directly work with our students and families. These agencies are a variety of the agencies that we've engaged and invited to be part of our messaging on multiple occasions over time and continue to engage in the conversation. They help review our district messaging from the beginning. They help update us on things that are happening within our community to make us continue to be more aware of supports that can be provided, and they amplify our message throughout the community. In addition to our internal partners that we have connected and collaborated with, there are specific places and pieces where we have either been invited or gained or engaged with our external partners, including Superintendent McDuffie, who's met with Immigration Legal Defense Center, MyCop, Future Leaders, and the Future Leaders of America. I was also invited to represent the district with a conversation with the NAACP and presented at a MyCop event that was hosted at El Camino. It was on our campus, but hosted by MyCop with a panel of, a variety of panel of different leaders in this area, and I was invited to share our district messaging. In addition, our multilingual services and family engagement, Dr. Tammy Castillo Schiffer, Jose Segura, and our family engagement team continue to share our messaging throughout the community as they engage in events. We are, along with that, not just them, but everybody is actively seeking resources and information to continue to increase our support. And we are continuing to explore additional opportunities to engage with those external partners while continuing to maintain regular conversations with our internally connected partners. From our board to our community partners to our guidance and training for staff, in January, we described those actions we are taking to specifically support our explicit in-person trainings with our administrators, our office staff job alikes, and our forward-facing staff in after-school programs and other areas. This training specifically worked on what to do to support parents and explicitly how to respond if requests for information were made from a federal officer, either in person or through electronic means. Our staff and connected partners were trained from January on, and again, we retrained those job alikes as we re-entered with school. In addition to our explicit training for admin and office staff, we've continued to update and provide all staff with our messaging and information and resources. Our staff training continues to emphasize some very important key things that are not just about immigration, but how we listen for and identify students in need of support and how we connect them with resources. And so that training and the support materials for any topic continues with this topic. When teachers or staff identify a student with need, pausing to listen and understand what the student's needs are and connecting them with our counselors or administrators who then have the additional, very specific next steps to connect our students and families with our Family Resource Center, with explicit counseling resources or other supports. Along with this training, we're also increasing our access through community partnerships and through our work in the district. First, our Family Resource Centers continue to be a hub for increased access and support, connecting to outside agencies and providing not just immigration resources or connections, but also basic needs, clothing, school supplies, and a variety of other connections for our families across the district. Another thing that we've done in partnership with our food pantries and family engagement is we've expanded from one centralized location of food distribution to currently 4 locations at our family resource centers and the Sousa Center, taking a big community, single location to individual school district sites throughout the district, which increases access across our community. Beginning in January, that 4 locations will expand to 6 locations, ensuring that our families have access to necessary food and resources across our community. In addition, we've increased our mental health supports on campus. We are fully staffed with 1 school counselor at every elementary school, 3 school counselors at every junior high, and Jimenez with 2 counselors. We have fully implemented our wellness coach program and are very close to having 2 wellness coaches at every school. And for the first time, we have fully met our goal to begin the year with 1 school-based therapist at each of our 21 schools. In addition to mental health support, we continue to ensure that through partnerships, we're expanding our basic needs supports, such as dental screenings. And in partnership with 3 different programs, we have planned for this year dental screenings, health education, and fluoride options for fluoride treatment at the TK, first grade, and 3rd grade levels for all students in those grade levels across the district. These are some of the ways that we are partnering with outside agencies and internal resources to ensure our students and families have access to support that help them engage with school. So the question is, when we do all of this, how is our message being received? Is our community hearing that message from our school district, from our partners? And one of the best ways that all of those outside partners keep asking me is, are students coming to school? And I'm going to tell you right now, our students are coming to school, which tells us our students and families trust our messaging. They trust our school sites in ensuring their safety, because our schools are a safe place for students to learn each day. So let's think about that. During the summer, Camp Elevate and expanded learning programs served more than 2,400 students who came to engage in our programs. This is not enrollment, this is actual attendance in our summer programs. In addition, our migrant summer programs, in-person, camps, and all of migrant programs served over 1,000 students. And to start the year, we have a daily attendance rate, an average daily attendance rate for the first 19 days of school of 95.71%. I think Matt Beecher showed us a little earlier the moving target of current enrollment numbers. 95.71% of those students are coming to school every single day. And I'm sure somebody's thinking, well, how does that compare? Took the last 5 years. This is higher than 4 out of the last 5 years and less than 0.7% away from that highest number. So this is in line and better than attendance for the first 19 days of school out of the 4 out of the last 5 years. So our students are coming. Our message is being heard. But of course, we're here for our students. So I'll leave you with the words of our students, because this messaging and our commitment about creating safe and inclusive schools, I want you to hear for yourself. What makes you feel safe at school?
And the teachers will watch you that we have adults around the protect us. They take care of the whole entire school. The things that I feel safe at school is that school is like safe for like kids because they're trying to make us like feel like more comfortable and feel more happier and more safer. There's gates around. Teachers are trying to make us feel comfortable, and it's working for teachers to make us feel comfortable. My friends and my teachers make me feel safe. I feel safe because I know that there's a lot of people who are doing the same thing as me. It's kind of a safe environment in a way. I feel safe at school because it's bodyguards everywhere. The gates are always closed. School makes me safe, like it makes me feel safe because there's like a lot of supervisors just like looking out for you. What makes me feel safe after school is my teachers, my friends, and guardians.
Safe at school, I think it's like, especially like all the adults have like deputies and teachers.
What makes me feel safe at school is that there's like the police station is like right around the corner and it's gated off.
So many like adult is here, and I don't feel like if anything's gonna happen.
I feel safe when I'm with my friends and I'm gonna talk to my teachers. I feel comfortable talking to them. Teachers are very friendly and are very open if you need help.
And tell the teacher to somebody hand me. Then I go to the office and see what we can do the office. When somebody hand me here, should do this.
I hope all across our system get that as a love letter from our kids who've included our teachers, our student supervision, our office staff, our bodyguards. That's not a new position. They feel safe with Santa Maria PD, and so to all of them. So, thank you. Thank you.
Mark, Dr. Palmerston, just really one comment. Great presentation, but I appreciate the things and the messaging that we're getting out in our after school programs in addition to from school. I think that's really essential because a lot of our kids take advantage of that. I guess the question is like more of a mechanics one. The messaging is getting out there. How, if there is some kind of an occurrence or it's recognized that a child has a need in that part of the program, how does that communicated to the school staff either the next day or whenever?
I'm gonna give you my best, and then Lori will step up if I misstep anything. But I think one of the strengths that we have is that communication and the systems in place to communicate from our after school programs to our school sites. And so those mechanics are about anything, whether it's a health issue, whether it's a behavioral issue, whether it's a late pickup or different people from the emergency card or a support need. We have existing systems that are set up that are really healthy communication systems. And so I think that's one really big strength of what we've done. And after school programs was one of the very first important groups that we went and explicitly trained. And so I think that was an important thing, is that not just focusing, like our school offices and our school administrators, hugely important in this during the school day, but the after school programs were explicitly a first step in one of our big trainings. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that question.
One of the questions that I have is like, how are our our staff, particularly our staff that work with kids regularly, like our teaching staff, what type of training are they receiving in case their students are expressing concerns or fears? What type of training are our staff receiving so that they feel well equipped to, what to do with those types of questions or issues?
Yeah. So this isn't a singular topic, right? We've done a really great job of planning and organizing for this year, continued professional learning, not just for our teaching staff, but our instructional assistants. And so not just on this topic, as we've talked about, ensuring that all district staff have explicit welcome messages from our superintendent and the distribution of these materials and information ongoing. It's not just about this topic, but their continued professional learning on how to support and respond, both creating a really positive environment in each classroom, each school site, but then on each school site, having all of those counseling resources and the training that they have to help identify and know who to connect with those resources. And so that training isn't just explicit to this, but really strong in helping teachers to identify the next step. I guess the one other thing that as we talk about some of this training, we've shared the parent information flyers, but you also have had the resources on the explicit response, right? We have a separate internal document for our staff that's an explicit response and how to respond if contacted by a federal officer. And so that's another one that really breaks things down into the simplest form factor as possible. What are the steps? Because oftentimes when we think about, well, staff need to be trained on all of these things, the main thing is we've broken that down based upon our board policies and our practices that staff need to know very few things. They need to know if a student's expressing, they listen and acknowledge, they reiterate our message and connect to resources. If contacted by a federal immigration officer, explicitly collecting all of the information possible and then contacting the district office. Explicitly, I've been designated in the district office to handle all of those requests. And so people don't have to make independent judgment. They instead know they collect all the information, refer to a single point of contact who then helps facilitate the next steps. And so trying to ensure that the messaging and next steps are very, very simple to make sure people can do that without having to, that can be adapted to every situation. Thank you for that question.
And as a follow-up, how are we ensuring that our families have access to this vital information? I know, for example, some of our families have told us that they continue to have, trouble using Parent Square, for example. So how are we ensuring that our families are getting this vital information, such as the Know Your Rights information and things like that?
Yeah, so as I shared, where we have this information in every school office, right? We've shared these messages on Parent Square. We continue to have ongoing conversations and increased conversations in our online social media. And we are fortunate that we have a radio spot. And so we're getting that message out there. But it's not just about us getting out that message. Our community partners, both those internal and external partners, are super vital in our communication with families. And so their active involvement, and from the beginning, they really expressed appreciation for our leadership in bringing them together and being forward thinking about this messaging, because they help us echo that message. So it's not just about what we're doing individually, but how we're sharing that messaging with others who are echoing the voice. And from kids coming to school, we have some pretty good assurances that this message is resonating well with our families.
Excellent. And I definitely would rather err on the side of over communicating, right? Something like this than under communicating, right? So hearing that we're doing, radio, that this information is at all of our, school sites, right? And not just like in our And what are the names of those 3 or 4 centers that we have, the parent support centers?
Our family resource
There you go.
centers.
So not just relying on those spaces, right? But making sure that the information is available, easily accessible, right? That we're continuing to push out this information. Because again, I'd rather our families say, hey, I'm getting it too often than, that I haven't received it, or, so I want us to continue I want to continue to emphasize that we over communicate this as opposed to under.
Thank you.
A follow-up question that I have is, I imagine that you're also looking at what other districts are doing, right, to ensure that our students feel safe, that our families feel welcome. What are some best practices that perhaps we are overlooking or haven't quite implemented yet that might work in our district? Have you seen anything like that we might be missing? I want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to ensure that our kids feel safe at school.
Yeah, no, our community partners have really been instrumental in helping us think through those pieces and have really echoed the positive piece of our messaging. And as you see, those increased supports that we provide and have been able to provide are key to that. And so as we continue to engage with our partners and in the community, we continue to listen for other opportunities for us to consider. And at this time, we really benefited from the expertise of our internal partners and our listening groups and the opportunities that we've had to really craft this message and continue with what we're doing in a positive way.
Yeah, I want to thank you I know that there was work being done over the summer from a lot of our staff, right? Being proactive, I think is really essential to this work. I think that's why we're having some of the success we're having, right, with our attendance rates. And so, one of the things that I threw out in his idea to Dr. McDuffie is the possibility of getting an update, every few months. If things don't change, right, then that might not be, necessary. But given the nature of this, really sensitive subject, if there are any major changes here locally, I think it would be important to agendize that and come back to that. Hopefully there won't be, because we'll continue to have great success with our attendance and our kids will continue to participate in all our wonderful activities. But should that change, I would want to, be updated on that if that's the case. So thank you. And please don't hesitate to let us know if there's things that we're overlooking, policies that we haven't considered to continue to make, to support our kids and our families.
Yeah. I'm happy to update you as we continue to engage with partners. The decisions about board agendas, I'll leave that up to you guys and be at your resource when necessary. So
thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All the work that you all have been doing around this very much.
It takes a big team, and I'm honored to be the one speaking in front of you tonight about the work.
I would just express my appreciation. The one big factor that impressed me the most and really tells me that we are doing a good job with outreach is our attendance rate. Because I consistently read that throughout California and the nation, attendance at school, getting kids there is a huge, huge issue. And I know it started out a little bit lower than what we were used to after COVID. But the fact that almost 96% of our kids are coming to school in just the first basically 3.5 weeks, it says a lot that our parents do feel safe in sending their students to school. They know that we are on top of our job, that we have protocols in place, and that, their kids are not coming home expressing any fears or concerns about going to school. So that's the big message that I take from your report tonight. So thank you for that. And if there are no further comments, I will acknowledge receipt of ensuring student safety and privacy for all families update. Thank you, Dr. Palmerston.
Thank you.
Is there any new business?
Consent.
I'm sorry?
The science instruction, BP, and the.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot. Okay, so let's go back to reviewing those board policies that were in consent on pages 41 and 42. From what I understood in the weekly update, and I believe it came right after our last board meeting, was that these are brand new policies that came out through CSBA that have been presented as a beginning, if you will, of having a policy in place regarding science instruction and the history social science instruction. So from there, Mr. Hollinshead?
And the first thing I was surprised about is that you didn't say something about this big long run-on sentence at the beginning, but I'll leave that one to you. It's late, I know. No, one of the things that I expressed about the science to Dr. McDuffie was that there is a certain sense of it being prescriptive, but being broad enough that if you were to create an AR to go with it, then you could get more into the details. But that in the inclusion of the safety and instruction and what have you down in the next to last paragraph, there's quite a bit of discussion around what sounds like different types of experiments and what have you. And so one small, very small aspect I found is that it says biological and physical aspects of science. And I know that we refer to our curriculum as physical science, but that chemistry, I think, should be included in that sentence, given also the allusion to hazardous chemicals and some of those things we would use down below, including burners and things of that nature. The other thing that I really wanted to, and this is, it kind of ties into, one of the things that Cal Poly is well known for, our CTE stuff, and that's hands-on learning and some of the things we've talked about with experiential learning and opportunities for our kids. I'd like to include language encouraging sites to explore hands-on learning with field trips of a scientific nature or focus. So things outside of just a classroom or lab experience. So some kind of language to that extent. It looks like Miss Lo Chang Vu has got it all going. I saw your head down. So for me, science for me is a passion because that's my field of study. But also, one of the things that's come out recently, as of today, CSBA talking about the lack of enthusiasm and participation of students in science. So feeling like they're not interested, they're not enthusiastic about it, or not enjoying it. And I feel like some of these kinds of experiential learning opportunities may provide some of that spark. And because I think science isn't just about analytics. It's not just about being in a laboratory or mathematics. There's field biology. There's observational things and things that can pique somebody's interest. And I know as a child growing up, for me in Florida, being around nature and having some of those experiential learning opportunities was very formative. And I feel like we have a real great opportunity with all the things around us environmentally for our kids to explore. And certainly, again, that addresses the exposure to and priorities of discussing ecological environments and climate change and what have you that's included in the body of the policy as it opens. So for any number of reasons, I feel like that's going to fulfill a lot of our goals as a school district, but also then a lot of the other aspects to the policy. So I would just ask to consider including language to that effect.
I just want to make a suggestion because we come back in 2 weeks for our next board meeting, which is not a lot of time for staff to really kind of work through some of the recommendations that you bring. And so I would suggest that maybe the board consider bringing this back through to the next board policy committee meeting and kind of go through the process once again for a first reading once it's gone through the board policy committee and then a second read after that.
Yeah, I think that would be great, especially considering what you've talked to me about earlier about as far as a subsequent AR really developing and crafting something that we can feel good about, that not only meets NGSS standards, but really it speaks to who we are and is aligned with what we're trying to do with the strategics.
My only comment, and I think, sending it to the committee is fine. But the one thing that I have really come to realize from my own experience, because I serve on that board policy committee, is that a lot of our direction and the initial implementation for board policies does come through CSBA. We don't necessarily have the staff or resources to independently create our own board policies. I would agree that administrative regulations, would add to the clarity and be more specific about, what this would all encompass. But it's going, creating an AR is going to take more than a couple of weeks.
Well, I'm not talking about creating an AR. I'm just talking about amending what we're presented here with this policy, and that at some point, if there ever is an AR to accompany it, that there would then be language
I would
to
even,
go from.
the question that comes to my mind is, okay, so who ultimately would have the responsibility to do that, to incorporate that as taking more than a couple of weeks? So sending it to the board policy review committee and having a discussion about how we might approach that is probably the next step. Yes. And I'm looking at my shoe because our next meeting is tomorrow. So I'm pretty sure it's not on tomorrow's agenda. So we will simply table this until something has gone through the process. And in the meantime, there just will not be a board policy for either science or social science.
Yeah, so table it until the board, the policy group or what have you has had an opportunity to delve into it to the extent that they feel good about what they've created, and then can bring it back to us for our second reading. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so no action is taken at this time, and is that agreeable to everyone? Just consensus? Okay, so that is tabled. We will move now to new business.
6142.94 history, social science, the second policy.
Okay.
Instruction. One, there's an entire paragraph that with all due respect to CSBA, there's an entire paragraph that's in there about high schools. I'm pretty sure we're not high schools. And unless that's got some kind of effect on the junior highs that I wasn't aware of with work readiness, I feel like that can be expunged from there completely. And or if there's a work readiness thing, then we can make it to, fit us rather than a high school. Does that sound okay, Ms. Lejeune? And I also take exception with the personal testimony paragraph. For me, I would strike that completely. It's prescriptive. It's not inclusive. And it's it's way too narrow in its scope. I don't think it's in the way that we have discussed what we perceive ourselves to be as a district inclusivity wise. It doesn't fulfill that at all, and I feel like it's really poorly worded, poorly expressed. Even again, all due respect to CSBA, I think it's not us.
I think I had assumed that both of these board policies would go back to committee for review and to make some changes before they would be presented. So I apologize for making that assumption. But that would be my suggestion again, is simply to table it for now and have them both reviewed and fine-tuned, if you will.
Sure. No, I just wanted to, we hadn't had an opportunity to discuss them because of the lack of clarity on my part of explaining why I wanted them pulled last time. And so they were presented to us in consent tonight as something to vote on and ratify. Like they would become our board policy. And the way they're written, for me, there's a number of things that I don't necessarily think are well done, but there are also some things that I think and I totally trust the committee to deal with that, but we hadn't had a chance to really discuss and say, hey, here's how I feel about this policy. Does it fit who we are as a Santa Maria Bonita School District and board? Because it's board policy, we're the board. So I just wanted to discuss it and allow you guys, if you'd read them, or when you read them, excuse me, I don't want to make that presumption that you didn't, but that if you had things that you felt strongly about, everybody could express it. Now, I know we don't do that with everything, but these being new, I felt that was important.
Okay. So we will include both board policies as being tabled. Okay. Anything else? So new business? Anyone have any new business they would like to request? Board reports. Mr. Valencia?
It was really pleasant to see some of our district staff, specifically our food services coordinator. Is it Ms. Laura Goins? Is that how you pronounce the last name? So I did see the segment, I believe it was on KCOI News about changes in state and federal policy or guidelines. So one of the quotes that I took away from that was that this year we did have more restrictive requirements from our state and federal guidelines. So we're cutting back more on our added sugar, our sodium, and ensuring we're providing proper calories and nutrition. That was a quote from another director. And so but the quote from our staff said, at breakfast, we have to serve fresh fruit, which consists of whole grains, fresh local milk, proteins. And so that was good to see, right? Because that's something that I know our students, when they present to us, right, our leadership have told us, hey, and they want access to alternatives to milk too, right? They want some, oat milk or soy milk or, whatever other types of almond milk, things like that. And so I'm really glad to see that our state and our nation are moving in that direction. I believe I saw a quote that said that more than 60% of the nutrition that our students are receiving come from highly processed foods, which is a really, really staggering statistic. That means that more than half of what our kids are eating in our schools and out of our schools, unfortunately, are processed food. And so I'm glad to see that the state and federal guidelines are encouraging us to move in a more healthy direction. And so I look forward to continuing to hear from our staff on innovative ways that we're continuing to provide healthy and enjoyable meals for our young people. I also saw in the Teaching and Learning Bulletin that Avid Day is tomorrow, or no, excuse me, 2 days from now, September the 12th. And it encourages our staff to share their college going journey or their Avid story. And I have the privilege of being an Avid student. And I cannot tell you how much it helped me prepare me to go to college and motivated me as a first generation college student to see myself as somebody that could go to college right out of high school. And so it was thanks to the teachers that I was able to do that, and our amazing counselors and custodial staff. And so I want to encourage all of our staff to share their college going journeys, especially since so many of our students are first generation college students, because I know it made a big impact on my ability to go to college. And I hope that it motivates our young people to do the same. Over the weekend, I attended Ellen Hancock's honors award night. And one of the things that I heard, from the president of the college is that, some folks say, hey, not everybody's going to go to college. And what he pointed out is, yes, it's true that maybe not everybody intends to go to Stanford or to Harvard. But if you want to be a welder, if you want to be an electrician, if you want to be a firefighter in our community, yes, you got to go to college because you have to get college certificates for that. And so let that be the message to all of our young people that college is for everyone, especially if you want a career that's better paid, right? That's likely more enjoyable, that likely has union wages and benefits. And so I really appreciated hearing that message, because I think far too often we tell young people, especially from low income backgrounds or communities of color, sometimes they're told, hey, college isn't for everybody. And I just think that's doing a disservice to our young people. So I really appreciated that message from the president of Hancock, and that is also my message to all of our staff as well. College is for everybody, especially those of us that want careers with more opportunities for our families. I also wanted to give props to our staff. I received an email with an invitation to come to an event on September 19th in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. I will not be able to attend that event, unfortunately, but I want to thank our district staff for continuing to invest in these types of programming that make our people feel proud where they come from, and that brings joy to our district during difficult times. I want to conclude by saying that I feel really honored that the California Latino School Board Association is providing our school board, superintendent, and our district staff with a recognition for the work that we're doing in our district. I want to remind folks that, this award that we're receiving is not indicative of us reaching the top, or not, we have so much more to go, of course. And we are in a never ending cycle of improvement. And so while I am thankful for this recognition of the progress we're making, we also know that many of our students are not yet achieving academically as well as they can be. And I emphasize that word yet, because I have a growth mindset, just like I want our young people to have. And so I know that we can and we must do better together to help all of our students reach their goals and dreams. So I want to thank everybody for their participation tonight. That concludes my comments.
Yeah, I just wanted to share, I don't know who went, if of all the folks here, but I did go to Farm Day out at the CT at the Richardson Center. In the past, I've attended it at the growing farm out by the county sheriff's department. But because Dr. Richardson was so impactful in having the CTE created, went out there. And again, kind of great to see some of our students, past and present, out there. And then also really, boy, I got some great peppers, amazing corn. So, it's a real great, the highlight obviously being Farm Day was the produce, and also the animals and what have you out there. Little kids were loving all the little tiny sheep and stuff like that. But it was really a chance, I think, too. I got a really great opportunity to talk to one of the young men that's involved in the diesel mechanics program there, and to your point, Mr. Valencia, he already has 2 certificates signed off on to be a diesel mechanic. And so and in talking to Russ Thomas, the head of the kitchen there, the head chef for a while, and the kids that were involved in the kitchen and seeing them work, behind, corner, sharp, all those things, yelling at it, just like the Bear. It was like being at the Bear. But seeing all those guys, they get, because he is there and he's an instructor at Hancock, they're getting their college credit. They're getting culinary credits too, so that the programs that we have in place already, college at the high school there at the CTE, are starting to get that process going. And in talking to the young man in the diesel mechanics portion, his expression was one that you're always glad to hear about. This was something that reached him. I wasn't really kind of a school guy, didn't know what I was going to do, but man, Mr. So-and-so got me into this program, and I got to build this. We brought this whole bus back from being, a skeleton, and we did this and this, and he went through the entire process. And so, that hands-on learning, the opportunity to see the fruits of your labor, I think, and then also have it really, it's college, but almost not realize it kind of thing. Like it's, that's the beauty of learning sometimes, is you start to become so enthused by what you're doing and involved and love it, that it ceases to be, it's like the job you have that you love. Right? It ceases to be work. And so I think, that's one of the ways that we can connect kids, our students, our young people, and get them on a college track. And I think the board might remember, when Mr. Polero was on the high school board and the CTE was opening, one of the things he often said was that, even if that's not the terminus of where they're studying, it's still education, right? It's still preparing you for perhaps a 4-year degree. It's not a limitation. It's not a terminal degree. It's not the end. It's part of your educational process. And, all of us have been around long enough that we've heard the lifelong learner, people's talking about being a lifelong learner. Well, it's true, right? That's just the setup for perhaps whatever else that might segue into. So it was a hoot, and all the things just to see the families out there. I talked to Dr. Garcia, or Antonio Garcia, the superintendent of the high school district, and he was very gratified, and it was a great event. I know there were 11 other sites from Lompoc up through, I think, Nipomo, where that you could visit, but I chose to do that one this year. So I would encourage folks, if you haven't already done so, please get out to the CTE. And then I think hopefully we continue to, Ms. Lojanvu, have articulation with them and try and get things set up not only for visits, but curricular articulation as well. And to that end, I did also talk to Sarah Cameron about some of those things too. She's always a great touchstone. But there are so many things we can do, right? There's highly skilled, there's scholarships for highly skilled labor as well now. So there's the breadth of education is only getting greater, and hopefully more readily accessed.
I'm glad to hear, as I already said, that our attendance rate is pretty high. I'm eager to see what our enrollment is, if There's been very much impact on that. It was a topic of discussion at our first Santa Barbara County School Board meeting last Thursday. A number of districts in the county, of course, are losing enrollment and having to deal with that. Several districts have passed bond measures and are reporting on significant improvements that they're being able to make at their school sites. Orchid, their enrollment is up quite a bit, and that they're very excited about that. There was also discussion about how many new board members have been elected to the various school boards, and how the county and the California School Board group within the county can offer some local trainings for people to attend and give them an opportunity if they're not able to attend, the other ones that are offered. And we had quite a bit of conversation about artificial intelligence, and nothing really significant other than everyone seems to be grappling with different ways of how to address that. And I think at one of our future meetings, we may ask someone to come and speak to us about that. And I know I'm hoping that there will be sessions on AI at our December school board conference. I also last week was invited to join Fessler for a day for their PLC with their West Ed trainers, where each subject area met with their colleagues during, an hour. It was basically an hour, and just had discussion within their PLC of, what do we want to commit to in terms of a teaching strategy with our students this year? And it was really interesting to hear the conversations and how they came to an agreement. And it appeared to me that it was really pretty natural. So I'm encouraged by that, and am hoping next week to participate over at El Camino a bit more with West Ed and with that kind of training. So everything that I've heard is that school is off to a really great start. That open or back to school nights, I'd attempted to go to several different school sites, and because parking was at least three blocks away, I didn't ever quite make it. And even visiting school sites during a regular school day, parking is at a premium. So I know we talked about parking in the conversation about, school upgrades and the master plan for our school sites. So, and I think that's it. Dr. McDuffie.
Thank you, President Cordero. First, I want to let this board know that I am so very proud of Santa Maria Bonita School District and being the superintendent here. And I will tell you that I have the same expectation, and we as a staff have the same expectation for our students, that every student goes to college and can go to college. And so I just want to reiterate that as we talk about all these different experiences that we have and that we have for our students. I'm very proud of the staff. I'd like to announce, Board Member Valencia has already talked about our LEAD Award, our CLSBA LEAD Award. Myself, along with Ms. Maijulo Chung Vu, Board Member Luz Maria Cabral, and Board Member Ricardo Valencia. We will be traveling down to San Diego and attending that Unity Conference. It's named the Lead Award, and we'll also be presenting a workshop based on our SMBSD's journey towards a brighter future through our strategic planning and through the Bright Futures Project. And again, even as we talk about college, as we talk about the expectation, I want us to make sure that we keep our eye on our North Star and the mission that we have for our students, which is every student. I wish I had a choir. Every student flourishing by discovering their passion and purpose, exercising self-determination, and developing the skills to reach their maximum potential. And so that goes beyond just the mechanical things and the things that we do as far as activity is concerned. It goes to really every child unlocking what makes them who they are. And when you can discover who you are, I'm telling you, I think that's what all of us want. And so just wanted to say that this award, did I go way off of my script? This award recognizes school districts that have demonstrated exceptional unity in leadership, served students and families through an equity lens, and gone above and beyond the call of duty. So I want to thank this board for your leadership. And also, I want to extend my gratitude to every member of the SMBSD staff. You do a phenomenal job, from our custodians to our office staff, to our teachers, our administrators, and our district level staff. I want to thank you for your incredible work. Every one of us is essential, is an essential part of SMBSD, and I'm proud to serve as superintendent. A couple more things. As we recognize Hispanic Heritage Month, I want to highlight that there will be a celebration of culture on Friday, September 19th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Santa Maria High School. We're holding this event jointly with the Santa Maria Joint Union School District, or Santa Maria Union Joint. I always get that confused. Yeah. Santa Maria Joint Union High School District and Corazon del Pueblo. The celebration will feature family activities, entertainment, refreshments, and community resources. And also, not to forget, tomorrow is September 11th, and we remember the lives lost on that day. Santa Maria Fire Department, it will be holding a ceremony at each of the fire stations at 7:20 a.m. for those who wish to participate. And we will also be flying our flags at half-mast at all our schools and district offices. That's all I have. Thank you.
I will just add that because after we received notification about receiving the LEAD award, that I specifically looked up what LEAD stands for. And it is Latino Education, Advancement, and Distinction. So kudos to everyone who has been working diligently over many, many years to provide the opportunities and services to help every single one of our students. Our next board meeting will be October 8th. And if there is no further comments, I will adjourn our.
Yeah, September 20th.
What?
It's September 24th.
It's September. Oh,
I just jumped ahead. I got used to one.
oh, excuse me, September 24th. And here I remembered actually, what happened is I just looked at it and I didn't even think about the rest of the month. I just went straight to October because we've only been having one. So September 24th, 6 p.m. here in the same place. And with that, we are adjourned.
Hello.